Good morning. Good morning, Radio Land. Welcome to this week's edition of WinFM's Inside the News, 17th February 2018. I'm your host, Elsie Harry. Thank you to our sponsors for today's program, TDC, The Cable, and Digicel. For those of you who want to see us, we are live on Facebook. It is WinFM, that's our Facebook page. And you can also check us out on the website, www.winfm.com. This is a very special Inside the News program because it is dedicated to International Volunteers Day. We will take a break and I'll tell you a little more about that when we come back.
Cable, we provide much more than just the fastest and most reliable internet service. We fill the homes of all our customers with joy and laughter. Our services connect friends and keep families together. With the most extensive fiber optic network, we ensure that you can enjoy the things you love with the people you love. Whether it's catching up with family or old friends, or simply just enjoying your favorite TV shows, people choose the cable because quality shows.
It's a new day at Digicel, so stick around for the fun as we continue to give you more. Don't want to miss that movie or game? Now you can take your TV wherever you go. When you buy a Quick Pick bundle, you'll get access to the PlayGo TV app subscription free and 1 hour free PlayGo data streaming every single day. So you can watch your favorite TV shows, movies, or live sports without using any of your data. So go to the My Digicel app and buy a Quick Pick bundle to start watching on the go. Only with Digicel.
Imagine a place that has all that you need. All of the things for your business to succeed. Furniture, copiers, laptops and more. TDC Business Center is your #1 store. Print and copy and scan and fax. Our copy center does all of that. If you're having a party and you need chairs and tents, we've got all your needs at Grand Rentals for rent. The TDC Business Center has everything your business needs. Superior copy and printing services, business equipment and furniture, and a wide array of renting materials for all occasions. TDC Business Center, providing solutions that work.
Okay, we are back on Inside the News, and as I said, it is a very special edition of Inside the News. Today is National Volunteer Day in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Exciting, right? I hope that everyone has got their volunteer initiative that they're about to do for today. Let me tell you who's in the studio with me. There is Mr. Pierre Liebert, Director of the Department of Youth Empowerment, and Mr. Royston Griffin, President of the Keys Community Improvement Club. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to have you on Inside the News.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm happy to hear that. even though your faces are telling me otherwise, I'm very happy to hear that. Okay, so before we get into the discussion on National Volunteer Day, let me just give our viewers a snapshot of what happened inside the news this week. As you are aware, traffic lights were officially operational from Monday, 12th February 2018. Lots of people turned out to Baker's Corner to witness the switching on of these traffic lights. For those of us who were following Parliament sitting on February 13th, the SCASPA Amendment Bill 2018 was passed. This means that the construction of the new cruise pier will move full steam ahead. There was a bit of a contentious moment in Parliament. If you were watching, opposition MP Conress Maynard was named by the Speaker and suspended from Parliament. And in an act of solidarity, the opposition leader, Honorable Marcel Liebert, and Senator Carty walked out of Parliament with MP Maynard. Nevis Island Assembly also held their budget debates this week, and the opposition leader, Joseph Parry, is questioning the spending of the CCM-led administration. On less contentious issues now, there was the reopening of the National Information Communication Technology Center at CA Paul Southwell Industrial Site. So feel free to go into the National ICT Center and see what services they have to offer. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis also announced the launching of a new health insurance scheme that is scheduled for 23rd February 2018, and consultations are expected to include everyone. So make sure you take advantage of the opportunity to go and find out about that national health insurance scheme, and also, give your suggestions for that program, because it will affect your life if it comes on stream. Finally, the artists for the St. Kitts National Music Festival have been announced. That is one of the biggest national events. It happens annually. And I know that my listeners love music festivals, so I know I don't need to pressure you into attending music festival, right? Okay. All of these great stories can be found at www.winfm.com, because we do keep you up to date. Okay, that's enough talking from me. I'm going to go straight into the discussion on volunteerism. So I'm just going to ask Pierre to tell us, how did today become National Volunteer Day?
Well, I think it's part of, I could say it's definitely part of the week of activities for the 3rd anniversary of the current administration. And the committee wanted to put together a package of activities that involved a wide cross-section of society, and that engaged them in doing something meaningful. And what more meaningful could you do than to offer service to community and to country? And so this is one of the activities that was slated, and we went about engaging as many persons as possible, appealing to them to offer service to community. And I think that the response has been pretty much overwhelming, and I think that speaks to the understanding among the people of the significance of volunteer service to your fellow man and to your society, and how it benefits the community. So we're here today, and persons have been volunteering since 5 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
And some are ongoing, and so.
Okay, so where did we, and this is for both of you, you can jump in here. Where did we get the idea that we should volunteer, that we should carry our neighbors' groceries, help them cut their grass, or, paint their homes? Where did we get this idea of volunteering from?
Well, for me, volunteerism in that way, for me, more or less is biblical, where the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. And it doesn't mean that the person who lives next to you only. It is general within a community, within a church, within a school, and beyond. Because I always said to children, we never know where we're going to end up. And I've lived that life. I've so many testimonies to testify about that. And I've seen it. Volunteerism for me started at a very young age, in the 80s. Growing up in the village of Keys and seeing my brothers, my sisters, and other people in the community, how they work together. Especially if somebody move in a house, in those days you move house and tractors, everybody go out and assist. If people building house, if there are persons building, putting on a piece, then everybody go out from the community and assist. And then after you finish, everybody head to the beach, roast breadfruit. And
sounds awesome. I would come.
Roast breadfruit. You get sometimes there are persons who would catch what we call sprat and roast sprat, and find things to do. So you find that the community would be more knitted in terms of that. And I think that is what sometimes people say, that what is so unique about Keys, but there's a tendency that we gel together and we meld together. And if one person knows run, everyone knows run. So that is where it started for me. And I started when we started the basketball court in Keys. I've seen everyone go in there. The basketball court wasn't built by a company. It was built by everyone in Keys coming together and contributing afternoon after work, and laying blocks, spreading sand, and so many things. So from there, I get the energy and recognize that it's important. And based on how you grow up, you have to show appreciation for what you got. In Keys, we didn't grow up. People in Keys didn't grow up had it in luxury, but we share. You don't have, we go over and we ask, and then we give. And it's a system like that is missing today. And that is why I always tell parents, don't let your children know where you come from. Don't hide it. It is easier that for them to know it than somebody give them the story, because the story would not be truthful. And that even now, I try to get my kids involved in whatever I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally support everything that he just said. In fact, I could reflect on similar experiences, especially with the breadfruit. They're bang good. But volunteerism, I think it's human nature to help each other, and I think it's not only nature but practical and fruitful, and it is. I think it's one of the reasons why we have survived as a species for so long and been as successful, because we recognize the mutual benefit and collective benefit in stepping up and volunteering service to help your fellow man, to help your society, to help your group, to help your collective survive. That's how we've managed to benefit from collective creativity, energies, and so forth. That's how we build our societies. For example, said if the first guy that discovered fire didn't do it because nobody paid him, it might have taken us a longer time to discover it.
Okay, so I want to ask you, if volunteering is innate, it is human nature, why are we celebrating National Volunteer Day and encouraging people to go and do volunteer activities?
Because, as I said, it benefits the community, and several things are happening. Several things we've observed happening over the years.
Okay.
Including a decline in volunteer service. When you ask persons, would you be able to volunteer to do such and such? One of the first things is, what's in it for me? And that has been depressing, disappointing, counterproductive. So I think that in a lot of areas we've been progressing slower than we could, were it not for persons seeing less interest and benefit in volunteering. Because not only do you benefit persons like yourself, but you grow as an individual through volunteering your service. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the persons who assisted this morning, all of them didn't know how to paint. But through they volunteered, some of them learned how to paint. The more you do, the more you learn, the more other people benefit, the more you inspired other persons to address situations. The basketball court that has been there for years now, if nobody volunteered to do it, then it would have taken much, much longer to get it. The community might not have a court, persons wouldn't be able to develop their skills. So it's not just to go and say and do something, but to get everybody invested in the idea of building and contributing to their society and the community.
I support exactly what he had said, and I would add a few more. It's dwindling, but I would encourage people to get involved because you learn skills. I could say that because of volunteering, I could do welding, I could do mechanic, I do construction, I do different lecture because it helps with your personal skills also. And so many things that you could do. And why I always say that, because you never know where you're going to end up. You never know who you would be able to assist. If you call me to do anything, Benches Street Life, I could handle it. I learned to drive truck by volunteering, helping people. I learned to do heavy equipment operation, which I used to do for a number of years. I learned to do so many, all because of volunteering. But it's not just volunteering, but there must be an attitude to learn, and it must come from within. An attitude to respect people and respect people's opinion, but at the same time, you have to look at the risk that is involved. And these are things, but I would encourage anybody to do volunteering. I would encourage anybody. It's not about money. For me, when I do things, sometimes people say, how much it costs? I say, no, it's not about the money. It's about me helping someone else to make a difference in their life. And that is what gives me joy.
Okay,
it's not about the money.
Okay, so here we have it. We're letting our listeners know that when you volunteer, yes, you're giving of yourself and you're giving of your time, but you also build your character as well as you learn different skills. So there are benefits to volunteering. Pierre, tell me about the launch of the new National Volunteer Corps.
Okay, well, I'd love to. But, I mean, I wanted to add to a bit of what he said. I mean, it's the benefit to self will come. Some you may not even recognize until you reflect on it years in advance. But, go out and do it. I remember time and time again speaking to people, and they say, you helped me do this, and it was this and that. And I say, for real? I don't even remember. I mean, but it lasts with them, and it inspired them to grow and to contribute to somebody else as well. So they paid forward. So there's endless amount of benefit to contributing and volunteering selflessly. And that is why we've put together the Volunteer Corps and engaging a few hundred young persons in this initiative to expose them to opportunities that, welcome youth energy, youth creativity, and youth service. Again, we've noted a sharp decline in volunteer service groups over the years. And in our research, young persons indicated that they do have an interest in volunteering their time, but they're not aware of any opportunities. And when they do become aware of them, it's too late to volunteer, so they never get to take advantage of it. These and other considerations help us to come up with the idea. And it's actually an old idea, but to refine it, develop it, put more meat to it and structure to it to ensure that it works. And we train young persons, orient them, prepare them to go out into the field of service. We welcome applications from organizations that have initiatives that benefit the community and would benefit the young persons and require volunteer service. We go to those applications, we connect them with young persons that have the right energies and skill sets, and we deploy them and they work.
So what is the criteria for becoming a member of the Youth Volunteer Corps?
Anyone resident in St. Kitts and Nevis between the ages of 16 to 35 years of age interested in contributing their volunteer service to the development of their community, and just come with the right attitude.
Okay.
So anybody.
Basically.
But we also have automatic membership from persons who are involved in the SAFE program. So they're also members of the Corps.
Okay, so I have a question for both of you. You're Director of Youth Empowerment.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are the president, Mr. Griffin, of the Keys Community Improvement Club. How do you manage your volunteers? Is there a code of conduct? What do you use to ensure that volunteerism is done in a good and a decent way?
For me, the first thing we must have a mission. What is the mission? And for our mission is unlocking the door for a better tomorrow. So you must know what is it you are there for. And one of the things that I always stress and tell when I talk to the members of our community club is that one of the things that we get carried away with, and I'll be blunt with it, is the political aspect. Whenever you're doing a service to people, you cannot see that. We have to see people, see them as our brothers and sisters. That would have its time, but we have to reach out to each and everyone and treat everyone equal. And in doing so, they understand where I'm coming from, because there's no sides to this. If one person have an issue in a community, it's all our problem, and we got to face it, and we got to get to it. So we set out, and we have some. That's basically one of the guidelines that we always put forward to make sure that we don't get caught up in the things, and we go out and make sure we serve people with pride and with dignity and with respect. And through that, over the years, we have engaged in a number of activities. We had engaged in after school program, where I start an after school program, but the volunteering of teachers wasn't that much coming. Some teachers volunteer, and I could say thanks for them, but it's a system where it's not just that you have the children come, but sometimes children go to school, they come from school, they are in homes with single parents, but the single parent finished with school years ago. So the subject matter they are not too afraid with. So it's create an avenue to help them. Because later down the road, if we don't create that avenue, then we would say, oh, you know, she child this, she child that. But what have we done to help that child? The child came home with the homework, he go back to school with the same homework. And sometimes maybe the teachers don't even find out what is the problem. But you start to be pushing words. And we got to be careful even too with the words that we speak over children. Because words, the Bible says life and death lies in the power of the tongue. When you speak negative, that is what. And then the child would grow and say, hey, and that's all I'm hearing. And probably that's what I am. And even parents have to be careful of what they say to children. So what we did is that get it started, but every parent had to sign an agreement. The agreement was that once every month, the parent must show up at the community center to socialize, and then there would be a session with maybe a doctor, police, somebody in society to do some sort of session with the parents at the same time. Because when children see parents take part in what they do, it gives them an energy and it gives them a sense of belonging to something. And that is what we try to do within the community, but eventually it didn't last long because the teachers were a bit tired in terms of, but what I was looking for is volunteers that if you go to the next week, it's someone else's turn, so that it would be rotational. The other thing that we did, we put the parents in groups. So this week, you and him would be responsible for snacks, because children come from school, they would be hungry, so to go the extra 2 hours. And we rotate the snack responsibility, and the parents reach out for it and things like that. So, but they were involved. They came out. We had discussions with them first, letting them know what the kids are getting involved in, the discipline that they would be involved in, and they have to sign for that agreement and the consent and thing. We get involved. The community get involved in the MAB, the Man and the Biosphere. I do a lot of tours with school children and things like that. We was involved with the sidewalking keys in terms of when the development of the sidewalk. We do awards and ceremony for senior citizens. So the reason for the senior citizens is because they are sometimes forgotten. We tend to forget them.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. I want to hear from Pierre. How do you manage, how are you going to manage your youth volunteer corps? Is there a code of conduct?
Yes. This is slightly different to, well, yeah. And we acknowledge that no single approach will make all the difference for all the young persons. Granted, every individual is complex, complicated, have their own unique tendencies, background experiences, and we have a few hundred of them. So we recognize that no single approach would be as effective as we would like, so there needs to be a multi-pronged approach and each complementing each other. That said, we started with the training. that was part of the launch yesterday, and we dealt with issues of leadership, volunteerism, team building, networking, cooperation, tolerance, anger management and conflict resolution, and things like this that would help to open their eyes and broaden their perspectives and better prepare them to be deployed. We also have a volunteer handbook that every volunteer received, and which outlines what they're expected to do and provides a bit of a guide, and also the basic principles, the values, and so forth. Honor, integrity, respect, trust, discipline, and these sort of things to help to guide them in conducting their service. We also would be there and encouraging not just ourselves but our partners to provide guidance, direction, management face-to-face, and to lead by example, to show them not just that we're talking to you and saying do this or do that, but we doing what we want for you to mimic or to emulate. So that's our approach, basically.
Okay, and is there an agreement that volunteers have to sign? Is there a disciplinary action scheme? Tell me how it works exactly.
Yes.
I need my listeners to know exactly.
Yeah, I don't want to intimidate anybody.
No. That we're working with, and we want you to get up to this standard. Even if you're not there yet, you can come on board and get to this standard, but this is the standard that we expect you to operate at.
Could I just say then that yes, we do have expectations, and we have mechanisms for addressing those that fall below the expectations. For the safe volunteers, if they don't perform or underperform, they get docked with their reimbursements, with their stipends. For those that are not members of the SAFE program, if you are not a credit to the volunteer corps, if you are more of a liability than an asset, then we would part ways.
Okay, so
Yes.
I'm encouraging everybody that goes to sign up for the Youth Volunteer Corps to make up your mind that, you are going there to be a benefit to the system, not a liability. Right? Great. Okay, so tell me about budgets. In terms of budgeting for volunteer activity, receiving sponsorship for volunteer activities, how do you deal with your funds? How do you manage those funds?
Well, for us in Keys, fortunately, sometimes we try to get funds, we don't. So everything that we do in Keys, it comes more or less from going around to the different houses and explaining to them what we are trying to achieve, and they contribute. They contribute overwhelmingly. We would write letters and things to community members, and they would contribute as long as it's something that would benefit the community, the people in Keys. They don't hold back.
Okay, so do you have a member of your club or your group that manages the donations?
Yes, there's we have president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and these things. Yes, but what we do sometimes, we raise funds. We raise funds. People contribute stuff. We raise funds, and then the funds we put it on an account. But more than that, after we saw the increase in crime and thing, it was a concern for us. So we more or less do more socialized events to kind of knit the young men and women together to things. So we wasn't that and more or less a front to bring in funds, but to more or less give. One of the things that I wanted to do, and I always speak of it, is a community insurance.
Okay.
And the purpose of that is when the young guy, Devante, who used to do at the Total Monitoring, I know his parents well. They are actually, his mother took call my mom, aunt, and things. So it pains me because sometimes people just can't afford. And when you have to go around and get a sponsor sheet, and then sometimes it looks so, and things. So that's something that is passionate on my heart because, as I say, I don't know who else or who next in thing, and it ain't everybody could afford to pay an insurance and things. So those are things that I'm thinking about.
I hope some insurance companies are listening to the program and will reach out to you, Mr. Griffin, to talk to you about how they can help you set up your community insurance plan. That would be awesome. Here.
Well, we definitely don't have unlimited resources, and we try to do as much as we can with the bit that we do have. That said, mobilizing resource has been an ongoing process, much the same as Mr. Griffin. We have reached out to private sector individuals, companies, and so forth to seek their support. And I have to give commendation to Builders Paradise. Actually, they're one of the first person's company to respond and donate some equipment and supplies to ensure that we could deploy these young persons to actually do perform service to the community. And we're in talks with others, hoping that we could move forward a bit faster to get, the resources that we need, the supplies and the assistance that we need to get these young persons to utilize their energies in a productive way that benefits society. But anybody, any companies out there, any representatives of companies out there that have an interest in contributing to initiatives that better serve the society, I welcome your support, your partnership. Just contact us at the Department of Youth Empowerment, and we will gladly have a discussion as to how we could engage your support.
I won't even charge for that ad. I won't even charge. It's National Volunteer Day.
Yeah.
That is my contribution to the Youth Volunteer Corps. But tell me, Pierre, how do finances get managed at the Youth Volunteer Corps? Where does the Youth Volunteer Corps fit in? It comes on the Department of Youth Empowerment. Does that mean that it is it is a government program? Do your finances get checked off by government accountants? How does it work exactly?
Exactly.
Okay, well.
Yes. Yes, but, we would like to do more. I mean, government doesn't have endless resources, and there are things that we would like to get going, to get the young persons involved in, that had we invested, if we were to pursue all of them, it would drain our budget, and we wouldn't be able to offer other important services. Hence, I welcome your assistance in affording me this opportunity to appeal to the greater good and conscience of your listening audience to lend some assistance. If you have paint, garbage bags, rollers, brushes, transportation, things like this. We could use these to engage the young persons to serve the community.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be cash, although we welcome it.
Cash and kind. Okay, so let's talk about conflicts of interest. For example, if you're having a volunteer activity and snacks has to be provided, if the snacks are not provided by a membership or the person from a member of your organization, or they're not specifically sponsored by somebody, the organization has to procure these snacks, for example. How do you deal with cases where, for example, a member might say, okay, my aunt has a catering company and she can provide the snacks and you pay her X amount of money? How do you deal with things like that within the organizational structure?
Well, we have a process. If we're having an initiative and we need snacks, then we appeal for persons to send in quotations and we choose the most favorable.
Okay.
Well, for us, as I say, we more or less reach out to the community, and in terms of in writing ahead of time, asking what they could contribute, and we never get a no for an answer. The people reach out because they recognize that there is. So I would take the opportunity to thank the people of Keys, and even some from Keyon who would contribute to whatever activity we partake in the community. It takes a village to raise a child.
Agreed.
So.
Okay, so for National Volunteer Day today, Pierre, you told me that lots of people are doing various volunteer activities. Mr. Griffin, I see you have paint on your hands.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about some of the activities that you participated in or that you will participate in for National Volunteer Day. Tell me about your initiative, Mr. Griffin.
The initiative is that we are painting an amputee house, Bernard Thompson of Keys Village. It's been a while that he lived in that house, and I visit him. I grew up knowing him. He was vibrant and in the community in terms of liming amongst the guys, but as he aged and thing, he lost one of his leg and he don't be out much. So from time to time, I would visit him to make sure he's okay and see what he needs. But living in the house for maybe about just 3 years and over 3 years, and I said to him, he needs some paint. So for a while now, I was looking around, how could I get this object achieved? And so I was reached by Miss Collins from the Community Affairs, and she said, she explained to me about the volunteer week and what is it that could we do. So I said, well, there's a house in Keys that I would like to see paint for an amputee. And she said, okay, that would be no problem. So I'll try, but I would try and see what could happen, and which she did. And that is why we're here today and painting the house this morning. And he felt real good this morning to see that the dream that he had has come true.
Okay, that's a really good initiative. And can you tell me who participated in this initiative?
Well, members from the club wanted to be there, but some of them had to go out and work, and which is understandable. And so, but they send resources in terms of brush and roller stick and things like that. Also, right now we have a Petula Huggins. Actually, she's from Canary, but being in the Coast Guard with me for a number of years, if I asked her to do anything, she would show up. There is Jerisa Payne, and she traveled all the way from Sandy Point. And that's
wow.
That's touching because to see she came from all the way Sandy Point, and she showed that she have the energy to take part, and she paint just like any man would paint. There's a Neville Bratwit also, who was there volunteering, cutting the yard, getting the yard clean up. And well, I have a little son, always want to be involved, so he was there painting Jeremiah Griffin. And
how old is he?
He's just 7 years old. And the minister came, and he started, Minister Honorable Gina Hamilton. He came and he was a part of the painting crew also. So it's not a huge house. It's just a 1 bedroom with a bath and toilet and a kitchenette. So it's not something that would take a large amount of people. But I'm happy that it is done, and we not only just paint, but we are lending hand in terms of cleaning out and things
That's
like
nice.
that. So right now when I leave here, I'm going back to assist in getting things done.
That's awesome. Kudos to the members of the Keys Community Improvement Club and to you, Mr. Griffin. Pierre, tell me about your Youth Volunteer Corps. What have they been up to today?
Well, not all of them are deployed following the training yesterday, but some of them are deployed in some of the activities happening right now or would have happened this morning. Forgive me if I don't call all the names, all the activities.
Anybody who doesn't hear their name or activity, please don't be jealous.
Oh,
it's fine.
Trouble now. But yes, Redeem Promotions. They would have done a beach cleanup at Frigate Bay Beach, and I know some of the volunteer corps members were there this morning. I've seen pictures of them all smiling and
On Facebook?
Yeah, WhatsApp and so I know that they were definitely there. I think the Guy Fest community is having a community cleanup. Family and Friends of Mansion and Christchurch, they're doing painting the house of an elderly person. So I think I did see pictures of that one as well. Bastia Community is painting the bus stop, West Bastille, Keys Community Improvement Club. Mr. Griffin here, he did his already, painting the house. I'm having technical issues, but the Shadwell Explorers Community Cleanup, they're doing a community cleanup. Complete Shotokan Karate Club, they're adopting a space. I think I spoke to them and they should have had some volunteers assisting in doing some tree planting and cleanup at the St. Peter's Primary School. The Liamaga CMOS Group planting fruit trees. Caribbean Sustainable Environment Awardees Program planting trees in collaboration with UNESCO. Camp Ezekiel feeding older persons. St. Kitts Flower Arrangement Association, I don't think they wanted volunteers. Last I spoke to them, but they were delivering floral arrangements to the persons resident at the Grange. Angelique Dance Company, doing some dancing activities with young persons in the village. Mulfield Explorers, planting trees again. East Bastille Management Team, planting trees. Virtual Student Council, planting trees and assisting with the elderly. So I think that this is a very good start, and I expect to see more activities, not just today, but throughout the year and next year. And persons who are interested in doing things like this, do keep in mind that you could call us.
And that is the National Volunteer Corps. All these free ads on the Inside the News.
It's community service, national service.
So, community service. Okay. So I received some audio from the house painting in Keys that Mr. Griffin just spoke about, where Minister Hamilton participated in, and Mr. Griffin spearheaded the effort. So I'm going to... Yes, Pierre.
Lord, sorry, I forget at least want to know that there's a group of volunteers nicely clad up at Government House right now preparing for the luncheon that will be hosted by the Ministers of Government.
Okay, so we'll talk about that a little later. So I'm going to play the audio from this morning at the house painting in Keys.
We were all helping our brothers up, helping.
Today is National Volunteer Day. It is part of the overall celebration of the 3rd anniversary of the Team Unity Administration. We have come to Keys today to do some volunteer work to paint this house for Bernard Thompson. Bernard Thompson is a man who worked for a long time for the government, sweeping our drains, keeping the community clean. But over time, he became sick and lost one of his legs. So he's an amputee and cannot perform the role he had to use to play in cleaning the community any longer. And for years he was housed in the small wooden house just next door. And under the last administration, the decision was made to build this one-room apartment for him. But it lacked a couple of things. It lacked electricity, it lacked water, and it was not painted. Over the last 2 or 3 years since I'm in the parliamentary representative, we have got the water connection, we have worked on the electricity connection, and now today, in a volunteer day, we're working on painting the property. We want to thank those who have come out from the Keys community group headed by Mr. Griffin. Royston Griffin is a long-time community activist, a long-time community leader, one who has educated himself and who has engaged the Keys community in positive things. I have participated in many events that the Keys community hosted, and today is no less an event than those which has gone in the past. And so today I wanted to congratulate them on their efforts on this initiative. It is an initiative which has been encouraged by the government throughout the entire country. And so today, as they paint, I trust that it will make the occupant of this house feel a lot more comfortable in that his surroundings is much more welcoming. And so, while congratulations is good for the government, congratulations is good for the people from Keys. And also, I applaud the gentleman, Mr. Thompson, for his hard work that he has put in to our government for many years. So I trust that throughout the entire country today, there will be many other recipients of the volunteerism which is being encouraged by the Team Unity government. It is part of my own ministry's endeavor to improve the quality of life of the poor and indigent. Only a few weeks ago you saw that we gave a home to an 80-year-old person who worked more than 50 years in the sugar industry and was practically living outdoors, in that the property in which she was housed, you could see right through it. Miss Daniel benefited from that. And only a few weeks ago, you also saw the lady from New Road, Miss Cornelius, whose house had just dilapidated bags and canvases as roofing, so that whenever rain falls, nothing in the house is left spared without being wet. We refurbished that house and put her back in a nicely, importantly improved home. So it is part of our program in the ministry to raise the quality of life of those who are poor and indigent. This is one such project coming on a national day, a National Volunteerism Day. It is one of those projects which helps to raise the quality of life of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Today, as we celebrate the National Volunteer Day, we are now painting Bernard Thompson's house. It's been a while since I visited him, and I realized that the house needs some painting. So I spoke to him some time ago, and he said he would be happy to get the assistance. So after I was contacted, I came and visited him and told him, well, make the suggestion to that other part of the activity. We would like to paint his house, so he said he would be happy for that to happen. He's an amputee, and I've known him from since birth, and I always had great respect for him and seen him around the community. And when he was on his feet, he would always go around and, make a joke and make everybody feel comfortable around him. So, it's a way for me to give back and for the people of Keys to give back to the community, and this is an opportunity for us to take part in this project.
Helping our brother up.
Okay, so we just heard from Minister Eugene Hamilton, as well as Mr. Griffin himself, who is here in studio with us, who spearheaded that project for Mr. Thompson. I'm sure Mr. Thompson is really happy to have this done for him. And it just goes to show that, a small act of kindness, it doesn't have to be totally grand. A small act of kindness that brings people together for the good of one individual even makes all of the difference in the world. So kudos to you, Mr. Griffin, and the members of the Keys Community Improvement Club, as well as Minister Hamilton.
Thanks.
Okay, so
Nice
here,
again.
can you tell me about the luncheon that is happening at government headquarters?
It's a luncheon for the elderly and shut-in and disabled, and it's happening right now. And I think they're being served by members of Parliament and the Cabinet. And right now we have also members of the Volunteer Corps up there assisting, ushering, and they were preparing this morning. So it should be a delightful experience for those persons, that sector of our society. And to have that intergenerational connection and interaction, I think, should be magic.
Okay, that's nice. And we were hoping to have some ministers of government in studio with us. Mm-hmm. However, they could not be here, but we are supposed to have some call-ins in the second half of the program. So hopefully that works out so that citizens and residents can hear about what's going on over at government headquarters, as well as what's going on Government House, sorry, as well as what's going on at the other places around the country. So if you had to give a message to the people listening for National Volunteer Day, what message would you give to them?
The message is to go out and volunteer. Volunteer to your brothers and your sisters, not those for say in your house, but in your community and beyond. You know, one act of kindness could change a lot in a person's life. We see people moving around, but people are hurting. And the thing is that it isn't everyone would come out and say, I need this, I need that. But sometimes, not just in cash, but in kind, just to ask someone, how are you doing today? And is there anything that I can do? Go a long way. And the message is, be a part of volunteering. And there's a lot of benefit in it. I've benefited tremendously over the years because, as I said earlier, there are persons who take time out from me growing up. And it is an opportunity for me to volunteer and continue to be volunteer. And not just on Keys Community Club. I also sit on the MAB, the Man and the Biosphere Committee. I take part with NEMA. And I do my own thing on this side, teach people vehicle maintenance without any cost, especially females and males who have no clue about how the engine works and can explain to a mechanic. So the idea is to give them an idea so when you go you could explain and you could help yourself in a sense. So I do these things without a cost.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin.
I like to copy what he said, you know.
No, you can't do that. Come on.
You did well.
Come on.
Nothing else there to say. But, I do support that idea. And we should all, you know, even if you've never considered stepping up and volunteering to do anything, give it a try. Take the day, give it a try. Cut some grass. I mean, help pick up some trash. Help an elderly person. Go and say hello. Check in and see how they're doing. You know, this is part of this day. You might actually enjoy it, and you might want to do it again tomorrow, and the next week, and after that, and there's a good chance you'll start to appreciate how much it's impacting and improving you as an individual. Sure. And I can't speak enough about the power of volunteerism to do that, and how it inspires other people to do good and to contribute to their society. And I could say it's whether you're a young person or an adult, it's a good example to set for society as a whole. And the more people stand up and raise their hand and say, I could do this, or at least I can try and do this, the better St. Kitts and Nevis will be. And the reality is, regardless of what year it is, regardless of the weather, regardless of whatever, you may be satisfied, dissatisfied, disgruntled, whatever the situation is. This is our country, and it will improve at our hands. And if we sit on our hands, there's a good chance it's not going to improve, or at least go in the direction that we want it to. So I encourage everybody to stand up, step up, and make the changes that you, or at least contribute to making the changes or the improvement that you think needs to be made.
Yeah, I totally agree with what he said. And I want to say that not only, don't wait until National Volunteers Day. Let it be something that is consistent. And it must not be something someone forced you into. It is something that you must grow loving. Because everything starts with you. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And respect. It's that respect. You must have that attitude to go out. And don't let it be about money. Because you never know when that act of kindness could come into something that you never imagined.
Okay, so Mr. Griffin, you were telling me a little earlier in the program about some of the activities that your club is involved in. Let's talk about that. What things do you do?
We do a lot of social events, community events, beach activity, beach football, beach volleyball. We have activities on the beach in Keys when weather is not, but we try to do as much. We have social. One of the things that we did some time ago is to marry the senior citizen with the children. The whole idea for that was the children see things around here, and they tend to want to destroy. But when they sit and understand what it used to be in the 1930s leading up to now, they tend to now get a sense of appreciation. So what we did, we get the old goose. We get these.
And for those of you who don't know, goose is what you used to iron with, right?
Right.
See, I know stuff, yeah.
We get the old goose. We get a grass bed, and we said this is what people had to sleep on. We also had this gentleman from Keys who built the first trash house in Keys, Mr. Dolphus, and I continue to pray God's strength because he's still alive and still in good strength. And he's still around, and all of them came out and they share the story of the community. So now we give them a sense of appreciation. We tell them about the one telephone that used to be in the community. So if you get a call, someone run, come, tell you, and then you go back. That was Wayland Vaughan.
They can't even fathom that. I mean, everybody has like 2 and 3 cell phones.
Right. The days when we had one TV, so you stand up and you look through somebody's window to and then because only one person could afford a TV and they had it. So these are things that we try to show them that appreciate what you have now, because that is not. So what I did some years ago with the support of the BNTF, I started on my own and with the club to develop a magazine, a book of the community, because we realized the landscape of the community going in terms of development. So we took some photos and we create that book. So it is there, but we wanted to do more.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Griffin. And thank you to all my listeners. It is time for the Midday News. Thank you to our sponsors for this program, TDC, The Cable, and Digicel. We'll be back after the news.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The Cable, we provide much more than just the fastest and most reliable internet service. We fill the homes of all our customers with joy and laughter. Our services connect friends and keep families together. With the most extensive fiber optic network, we ensure that you can enjoy the things you love with the people you love. Whether it's catching up with family or old friends, or simply just enjoying your favorite TV shows, people choose the Cable because quality shows.
It's a new day at Digicel, so stick around for the fun as we continue to give you more. Don't want to miss that movie or game? Now you can take your TV wherever you go. When you buy a Quick Pick bundle, you'll get access to the PlayGo TV app subscription free and 1 hour free PlayGo data streaming every single day. So you can watch your favorite TV shows, movies, or live sports without using any of your data. So go to the My Digicel app and buy a Quick Pick bundle to start watching on the go. Only with Digicel.
You need new tires but don't know what to get. TDC can help.
Hi, I'm Goodyear. I ensure great handling and great braking in wet and dry conditions.
My name is Sunphone. My continuous block patterns enhances stability at high-speed cornering. Did someone say speed? Hi, I'm Torque. Pick me for great performance and stability.
Boys, I know exactly what they want. I'm Pressa. I'm the perfect fit for your SUV. Pick me and get the ultra-high performance with outstanding grip and traction regardless of the road conditions.
So which one of us are you gonna choose? For the most reliable, durable, high-performance tires, come to TDC Automotive Divisions. We'll help you choose from the best brands at the best prices.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, FamCare, Subway, Carib Brewery, and CNC Trading.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults. It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
I want it cold, blue and gold, real beer, one of a kind. When you dry, you can't deny one beer is on your mind. Carib. I need a real beer, yeah. I feel that special magic when I open the gold crown. Carib the beer for me, Carib the beer for you. Carib beer, you know we grow, beastly cold right on cue. Carib beer, you know it's true, it's a part of me, a part of you. Carib.
Real beer is Carib.
Come to Subway and eat fresh. Try our daily specials. That's right, we have a special every day at Subway. Come in today and eat fresh. Stay healthy.
BioCare Lab says it's your hair, so wear it your way with Curls and Naturals Hair Care Solutions. Start it right with Curls and Naturals Texturizer Hair Softener. Infuse with Moroccan argan oil and maintain it with the Dream Curl Cream with honey and shea butter, all with daily moisturizing anti-fizz and shine serum. For locks and twists, nourish them with a curl-defining custard and see them grow. It's your hair. Wear it your way with Curls and Naturals. A brand new you every day.
Curls and Natural, sold locally by CNC Trading on the CAP Southwell Industrial Site. Telephone 465-4081.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Dealing well with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we've got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
The Eastern Caribbean dollar banknotes will be getting a major overhaul, says the issuer of the currency, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB. At a press briefing following Friday's ECCU Monetary Council meeting in St. Kitts, Council Chairman, Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerritt, said the intention is to change the material the notes are made with.
Council received a report which outlined the case for changing the substrate of the ECCB banknotes from cotton to polymer. Council noted the advantages of the polymer substrate over that of cotton, which included higher durability and more advanced security features. Further, polymer is a new standard that is widely implemented around the world. After careful consideration, Council approved a change in the substrate of the ECCB banknotes from cotton to polymer, and Council further endorsed a public education campaign to be rolled out by the ECCB on this new initiative, and is something I believe the entire union should welcome it's a step in the right direction.
ECCB Governor Timothy Antwine said the changing of the EC banknotes will take some time and will likely be implemented in 2019.
The banknotes will take some time. So following the decision today, we have to engage the potential printers in a sort of proposal which we have to evaluate and decide. From the time we actually make a decision about who will print those new notes, it takes about a year to actually produce the new notes. Because remember, you have to design, you have to put in all the security features. Those are intricate processes. You have to do it well. The notes are going to look good, and I am assuring you they will look good. You'll be proud of them. But that will take about a year from the time we make the final decision. And during that process, or during that period while the production is underway, we have to commence the public education, to let the public understand what the new notes will look like, what they should be expecting, and how they should treat with them. So to answer your question, it's probably sometime in 2019.
Citizens in the 6 ECCU member territories that use the EC currency can expect the overall look and feel of the banknotes to change.
The complete lineup of the St. Kitts Music Festival 2018 has been revealed. The revelation was made at an event at Bank Street on February 16th.
Your 2018 St. Kitts Music Festival lineup. Thursday night, Spice, Nyla Blackman, Kess the Band, Destro, Soca Fusion featuring Small Axe Band and the New Vibes Band International. Friday night, Byron Messiah, De Jour, Shakademus and Pliers, Wayne Wonder, Aishona, Sizzler Kalonji, August Alsina. And Saturday night, Rhythm of the Beat, Patti LaBelle, Ms. Lauren Hill, and Fetty Wap.
The festival, which has been labeled as one of the premier entertainment events in the Caribbean, is scheduled for June 27th to July 1. The initial rollout of the headliners for the event was held in December 2017. The St. Kitts and Nevis Marijuana Commission continues to fulfill its mandate to conduct a rigorous inquiry into the social, economic, health and legal issues surrounding marijuana use through wide public consultations with all stakeholders in the Federation. The aim of the consultations is to ascertain the people's position on cannabis and to develop a final report that will prompt relevant policy decisions. The chairperson of the Marijuana Commission and Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, has given the assurance that the dates of these public meetings will be announced in due time. In essence, St. Kitts and Nevis is taking a consultative approach in addressing the controversial issues surrounding cannabis sativa. Antigua and Barbuda, on the other hand, is moving boldly towards decriminalizing the possession of up to 15 grams of marijuana on a person. This decision has been interpreted by many as an indication that local consultations should be accelerated. One resident was hopeful that Antigua and Barbuda's government's move would spur the relevant authorities to recognize the way forward for marijuana is an important matter.
I'm hoping that it does. I'm hoping that it motivates them to, get on board. Obviously, we're trying to move towards getting it tabled. Hopefully that will give them some push. And I feel like we're not putting it as a priority. Every chance that we get to, push it to the back of the pile, that's what happens.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines government says they are considering the legalization of cannabis for medicinal purposes, but have ruled out the possibility of opening up the industry for recreational use. Decriminalize means to remove or reduce the criminal classification or status of, especially to repeal a strict ban on while keeping under some form of regulation. On the other hand, legalization is the process of making something legal when it was previously illegal. St. Kitts and Nevis's Marijuana Commission was established in April of 2017. There have been regular meetings to investigate the health, social and economic benefits as well as the drawbacks to marijuana usage.
The Ministry of Tourism has begun to prepare a group of high school students in order to seek out the next Youth Junior Minister of Tourism. The first training session for the Tourism Youth Congress was held on February 15th at the Ministry of Tourism. The Tourism Youth Congress is a public speaking competition targeted towards high school students between the ages of 14 to 17 years old. Participants are required to research various aspects of the tourism sector and reveal their vision for tourism by delivering a compelling presentation for judges and an audience as they vie for the title of Junior Minister of Tourism. Training sessions are aimed at coaching students with research techniques, organization of presentation material, and public speaking skills. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Tourism, Caroline Henry Morton, pointed out that the Tourism Youth Congress helps to prepare students to meet the demands of a fast-growing and competitive tourism industry. She said, quote, "The tourism industry is the driver of our economy, and so it is indeed critical that our youths make deliberate and serious efforts to understand and appreciate the relevance and impact of tourism on our present, on our future, and on our economy," end quote. Tikoya Warner of the Charles E. Mills Secondary School is the Youth Junior Minister of Tourism for St. Kitts, while Devon Cornelius of the Gingerland Secondary School is the Junior Tourism Minister in Nevis.
And now this special report from ABC News.
Powerful earthquake hitting Mexico. Buildings seen swaying in Mexico City. ABC's Kana Whitworth with the images coming in at this hour.
Tonight, the powerful 7.2 earthquake sent people scrambling into the streets. Dust filling the air. Inside buildings, overhead lights swaying. People bracing for safety. The warning sirens blaring in the streets and on television. Initial reports of some damage. This after that devastating 7.1 quake that rocked the capital of Mexico City, killing hundreds and leveling countless structures. Tonight, the worry that aftershocks could be on the way. Kana Whitworth, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Welcome to the Caribbean Technology Roundup for the weekend of the 16th of February 2018 with host Russell Williams. Digicel Jamaica embraces data and over-the-top services for new promotion. After almost a year with little public marketing, Digicel Jamaica has started a new campaign with data taking the lead over talk time. The move represents a shift in Digicel's strategy, which previously tried to downplay the increasing popularity of over-the-top OTT applications such as WhatsApp, Viber and Skype. The campaign, which carries the tagline "Get enough data, more talk," gives customers new deals on both data and talk time and demonstrates the switch that is taking place in the telecoms industry from primarily voice calls to accessing the internet. "Applications are everything," said Justin Morin, Digicel Jamaica's new CEO. "Everything is about video streaming. We aren't just telecoms anymore," Morin said, noting that it's a worldwide change, where AT&T bought DirecTV and Time Warner and Verizon went after Yahoo. The business must evolve. The change in usage is being led by younger consumers, Morin noted. "Our youth are more tech savvy and are changing the ways our products are being used. Part of that change is greater use of OTT applications to make calls via the internet. But while Digicel's new campaign promotes OTT to an extent, it is not the warmest of embraces. OTT applications are a threat to our business and do not contribute to government taxes or infrastructure," Morin noted. "But they certainly bring a new style to the communications. It's widely used and you can't stop or prevent people from using the apps they want," he said. The company will continue to be in dialogue with government on how to handle applications such as WhatsApp, Skype and Facebook, Morin said. "They are not contributing to the government, and that's why you're seeing them being litigated in Europe for back taxes." Antigua and Barbuda advised to fully utilize cryptocurrency technology. Antigua and Barbuda has been advised to move past simply embracing cryptocurrencies to fully taking on board the technology that enables the existence of the virtual currencies such as Bitcoin. That advice came from Dr. Justin Ram, Director of Economies at the Caribbean Development Bank. The Gaston Brown administration is drafting legislation that would allow cryptocurrencies to be used in business transactions, including the services provided by state agencies and departments. Dr. Ram said that blockchain technology, more so than cryptocurrency, is the real game changer for countries in the region, including Antigua and Barbuda. So what is blockchain technology? Blockchain is a decentralized, distributed and public digital ledger that is used to record transactions across many computers so that the record cannot be altered retroactively without the alteration of all subsequent blocks and the collusion of the network. It can be used for all types of transactions, including land deeds, Dr. Ram said. According to him, it would be a major plank of transforming regional economies into digital economies in conformity with the global trajectory. So it goes back to my earlier point about how do we move to a greater use of a digital economy and being prepared for that, the CDB executive noted. That was how he framed his answer to the question of how the bank would advise Eastern Caribbean countries to proceed following the invitation of Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro for them to join the South American country in launching a petrocurrency. It is a response to what Maduro says is Washington's financial blockade against his country. Last Friday, Maduro said that Venezuela would issue 100 million units of its new oil-backed cryptocurrency in the coming days. The dollar value would be US $5.9 billion. Analysts are unclear whether any investors will want to purchase the petro at a time when the OPEC member is going through a deep economic crisis and its leftist government has little credibility. Number portability is coming to Barbados. Barbadians should be able to switch telephone service providers without losing their phone numbers from December, according to Prime Minister Frundle Stewart. Giving Parliament an overview of developments in the Barbados telecommunications sector, for which he has ministerial responsibility, Stewart said that the Division of Telecommunications had launched a local number portability project in September 2017, and we confidently expect that by the end of this year, by December 2018, the local number portability project should have been completed. The objective of this project is to give Barbadians the ability to change their telecommunications service provider without having to change their number. He explained, adding, "So your number becomes portable even though your service provider has changed at minimal cost." Stewart's announcement came as he introduced the Telecommunications Amendment Bill 2017, aimed to ensure that specified provisions of the Act are applicable to the rules, regulations and orders made in accordance with the Act. Prime Minister's timeline for the rollout of number portability, however, differs with that set by the Fair Trade Commission when it approved the merger of Cable and Wireless Communications plc and Columbus International Incorporated in 2015. The FTC had stated then that the merged entity, in accordance with its commitments, must be technically ready for local number portability in the fixed network by September 30th, 2015 and mobile number portability in the mobile network by November 30th, 2015. However, those deadlines have not been met. That's the Caribbean Tech Roundup for this week with me, Russell Williams. For more detailed information on these stories, visit the news section on the WinFM website. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend.
The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, FamCare, Subway, Carib Brewery, and CNC Trading.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we've got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Is your hair thinning, shedding, or breaking? BioCare Labs has researched the causes of split ends, thinning, dry, and brittle hair and has developed a product to solve these weak hair problems. We call it Strong Ends Products. If you desire to grow strong, healthy hair, Strong Ends Products is your solution. Formulated with potent natural ingredients like honey and shea butter to deposit and retain moisture, castor and almond oil for scalp and roots, and aloe vera and coconut milk for strength. Try the full line of Strong Ends hair products and grow healthy, beautiful hair.
Strong Ends, sold locally by CNC Trading on the CAP Southwell Industrial Site. Telephone 465-4081.
Come to Subway and eat fresh. Try our daily specials. That's right, we have a special every day at Subway. Come in today and eat fresh. Stay healthy.
I want it cold, blue and gold, real beer, one of a kind. When you dry, you can't deny one beer is on your mind. Carib. I need a real beer, yeah. I feel that special magic when I open the gold crown. Carib the beer for me, Carib the beer for you. Carib beer, you know we brew, beastly cold right on cue. Carib beer, you know it's true, it's a part of me, a part of you. Carib.
Real beer is Carib.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Found the sound 98.9 FM.
Cable, we provide much more than just the fastest and most reliable internet service. We fill the homes of all our customers with joy and laughter. Our services connect friends and keep families together. With the most extensive fiber optic network, we ensure that you can enjoy the things you love with the people you love. Whether it's catching up with family or old friends, or simply just enjoying your favorite TV shows, people choose the cable because quality shows.
Imagine a place that has all that you need, all of the things for your business to succeed. Furniture, copiers, laptops and more. TDC Business Center is your #1 store. Print and copy and scan and fax. Our copy center does all of that. If you're having a party and you need chairs and tents, we've got all your needs at Grand Rentals for rent. The TDC Business Center has everything your business needs. Superior copy and printing services, business equipment and furniture, and a wide array of renting materials for all occasions. TDC Business Center, providing solutions that work.
It's a new day at Digicel, so stick around for the fun as we continue to give you more. Don't want to miss that movie or game? Now you can take your TV wherever you go. When you buy a Quick Pick bundle, you'll get access to the PlayGo TV app subscription free and 1 hour free PlayGo data streaming every single day. So you can watch your favorite TV shows, movies, or live sports without using any of your data. So go to the My Digicel app and buy a Quick Pick bundle to start watching on the go. Only with Digicel.
Hi everyone, we are back on WinFM's Inside the News, and I just want to say thank you to my sponsors again, TDC, The Cable, and Digicel. On the first half of the program, we spoke with Pierre Liebert, the director of the Department of Youth Empowerment, and Mr. Royson Griffin, president of the Keys Community Improvement Club. On the second half of the program, I have with me Mr. Chad Allen, president of the Rotary Club of Liamiga, and Mr. Hanif Charles, member of the St. Kitts National Youth Parliament Association. A lot of testosterone in my studio. Got you. I'm here. So, happy National Volunteer Day, guys.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Same to you.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what is volunteerism. What does it mean to be a volunteer?
You know, that's really a good one. And, you know, volunteerism is really rooted in the heart of giving back. And, you know, I would always, my personal definition is really finding that higher purpose. And, you know, looking at those that you're able to empower and enable to do even more than where they are just now. So that's what volunteerism surrounds.
Well, definitely for me, in a nutshell, volunteerism is just simply making a difference in someone else's life. By whatever actions you're doing, whatever you're able to contribute, you're making a significant difference in somebody else's life.
Okay, and I just want to remind my listeners that if you want to see the nice faces that I have in my studio, we are streaming live on Facebook. WinFM is the name of our Facebook page. The video is also available on our website, www.winfm.com. So we have all-around coverage here for you. So tell me about the organizations that you are a part of. Chad, I'll begin with you. Tell me about the Rotary Club of Liamiga.
Thank you. Well, the Rotary Club of Liamiga, it forms a part of a global network of business, professionals, and community leaders who come together to create a positive, lasting change in our communities and around the world. Rotary, on a whole, not necessarily just Liamiga, it has over 1.2 million Rotarians.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot. That's a country.
Yes, that's a whole lot. And this is across 34,000 clubs in over 200 countries. It's a non-partisan, non-sectorial, non-religious type of organization. And, you know, if I could just share some brief history around it. In 1899, Paul Harris, who is the founder of Rotary, he moved to Chicago to start a law practice, and he found it very challenging to connect with, you know, persons of similar businessmen within that community. So he felt it was necessary to network among social elites to help him grow his business. He invited 3 other businessmen who were in similar circumstances to meet, and the intention was for them to fellowship, exchange ideas, and trade. And they had weekly meetings at their respective offices, so they had to rotate. And because of that rotation fashion, it became Rotary. So Rotary started out as a social and business network, but it became a little bit more, you know, informal. You know, persons became more comfortable. They were able to greet each other by first name, somewhat like buddies, kind of slap each other and, you know, become familiar. And it even got to a point where, you know, if you call someone in that setting by their proper title, whether it was doctor or sir, you would actually be fined because they wanted it to be a very, very comfortable setting. It became a challenge, though, after a while, when members, you know, even though they liked the idea of Rotary, they found a little pressure in just trading among themselves. So some members began to resign, while others kind of hesitated to join. However, Paul Harris, you know, with his brilliant idea, came to de-emphasize the business dealing aspect and focus on public improvement while concentrating on the spirit of fellowship. So the first project was the installation of public toilets in downtown Chicago, and this is how Rotary was transitioned into a service club. So that gives a little history about Rotary. To speak more specific around our club locally, the Rotary Club of La Amiga, we started in February 10th, 2003 with a total of 29 founding members. And this was started by the late past district governor, Ambassador Fred Lam. It received its formal Rotary charter in September of the same year. And in its 15-year history, the club has had presidents, including the first woman president in the Federation, past President Paulette Warner.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Who later, she served as the country's first woman assistant governor at the district level. So that's a big thing in Rotary. To date, the club has had 3 district assistant governors, so it's something that we're proud of. And the 32-member club, conforms to the highest ideals of Rotary and continues to lead and empower, helping within the community of our lovely federation of approximately 45,000 people. So that gives you a little history of what Rotary is. And, our motto is really service above self. So when you think of volunteerism and you think of this particular motto, service above self, it kind of embodies, what we represent.
Okay, thank you, Chad. Hanif, tell me about the history of the St. Kitts National Youth Parliament Association.
Absolutely, my pleasure. If you just hear me sound a little fuzzy,
yeah, he has a little cold, it looks like.
Yes. Well, the St. Kitts National Youth Parliament Association is a very vibrant and dynamic group. It's comprised of very vibrant, like I said, young leaders. The group was started in September of 2001 by our founding father, the late Desmond Eli Ward. He was assisted by Jeffrey Hanley, and the two of them together came up with the idea of having this very important group. Unfortunately, at the same day when the association started, unfortunately Mr. Ward passed away. So, it was a very sad event. However, we are happy to know, and I'm sure he is happy to know, that the organization has fulfilled his mandate of becoming an enabling agent for youth to participate in a discourse of national issues. And that is what we've done for the past 17 years. We've been speaking about national issues and all sorts of topics. We've been debating very important laws. We've even produced our own position paper, our own opinions on certain ideas. But apart from our involvement in training and molding these young leaders to participate in these sort of events, we've also participated at a number of our activities that actually centered around volunteerism. We've come up with the idea of having different activities, such as the Com Center play, which started, it's a very young idea, but that is geared towards volunteerism. We've also partnered with other organizations within the country to lend our time and assistance where it needs to be.
Okay, so tell me about how volunteerism functions within your organizations. How do you manage your volunteers? How do you manage your members when they participate in volunteer activities? Let's talk about that.
All right, so I'll speak to that. So who do we serve? And that's a question. And in Rotary, we do have 5 avenues of service. So one is community. The other is youth. And when we think of youth, we think of, how do we enable our youth of today to be more prepared for tomorrow? So we have, for example, the Young Leaders Training, which we call RYLA. And, we take youths from different parts of the Caribbean, bring them into one setting, and we will host a week of activities that give them leadership skills, how to apply for a job, how do you set a business plan. I mean, various aspects of life they're trained on, which they wouldn't normally benefit from this type of setting or this type of information in just one setting. We also, when we think of youth, while Rotary represents a more mature segment, we do have the Early Act, the Interact, and the Rotaract, and they also form a part of the body of Rotary. And this, of course, depending on the age, so you may have those who are, in high school versus a community-based group of young professionals. We have a place that we hold them in very high esteem. We also have a group study exchange, and again, that's just empowering youth. We also focus on club, so the strength of the club, the strength of our fellowships. We involve a lot of guest speakers at our meetings, so it helps to stimulate, our thought process and see how we can the areas we can really make a change in society. And of course, improve our own skills. So we look at our own vocation and using our profession to do good within the community. So when you think of volunteerism, it's not just necessarily about providing cash. Sometimes it's about providing kind. Sometimes it's about sharing your expertise and lending that to avenues that wouldn't normally have such things. And of course, the fifth area of service is, outside of our own local domain, we also think international or even regional. So we contribute to things like natural disasters, peace and conflict resolution. So for example, very recently we will have experienced hurricane. And of course, our Rotary Club collaborated with the other Rotary Club locally, which is the Rotary Club of St. Kitts, Chamber of Commerce, Rams Food Store, Hosfords, and we all, along with the Chamber of Commerce, yes, and we all came together in looking at how could we brainstorm, collaborate our efforts, and support our neighboring countries who were devastated by the hurricane. So this forms under part of our regional/international aspect of Rotary. The areas of focus for us are peace and conflict prevention, disease prevention and treatment, water and sanitation, maternal and client health or child health, basic education and literacy, economic and community development. So these are the main areas that we focus on in the body of Rotary.
Okay, thank you, Chad. Hanif.
Sorry, forgive me. Well, like I said, Skinniper is not necessarily a volunteer organization. Volunteerism is not something that is our primary focus. However, it is something that we practice based on the activities that we are involved in. And for sure, we focus on youth because, of course, the organization is comprised of youth. And we also focus on nation building. And so we lend our time and our efforts to ensuring that whatever activities that we engage ourselves in will definitely affect these two. One of the main events, one of the main activities that Skinniper has launched in terms of volunteerism is what is called the Consent Play. And I would just want to touch on that. Now, the Consent Play is a very interesting activity. I'm sure, LC, you know about that.
Yes, I've been to Consent Play.
Now, Consent Play is an activity where members of Skinniper, and you have to understand that the members of Skinniper our membership is very diverse. We have persons who are students, so they are studying, and we also have persons who are working, and so we have very little time for certain activities. However, through this program, we put aside that time. We make sure we lend our time to interacting with the young students within the communities across St. Kitts. And so we designate a certain time, perhaps each month or ever so often, where we will go into the communities and actually interact with the young children. We would have games, we would have learning programs, we have the snacks, and it is a very interesting and very eye-opening experience if this is your first time actually participating in Consent Play. Sometimes the children don't even want us to leave, and you know how that goes. Yes. So it is a very rewarding experience, because you don't really get anything out of it. And sometimes that's how volunteerism is. You don't really look for something out of it, anything monetary or something physical out of it. You don't really look for a certificate to say, okay, well, I did this. You know, it's just that feeling of knowing that you've made a difference in someone else's life. You touched somebody's life, and that is definitely what Consent to Play does. SkinHyper has also, in the past, we've collaborated with the St. Kitts Turtle Monitoring Network. That was a program that was organized where we would have SkinHyperians on a schedule going and assisting the team members at the St. Kitts Turtle Monitoring Network with their, I think it was, we were actually looking for the eggs on the side. I'm not so sure of the actual procedure that was done.
And if that means you didn't participate in that one.
But I know for sure, we actually adopted one of the turtles. I think that one of them that got a little harmed, and we rescued that turtle. I think we named it Skipped. SkinHyper's turtle. I think that was. I think that was the name.
Skipped is gonna get beaten up on the turtle playground with that name. He's gonna be skipped over.
I think that was his name, SkinHyper's turtle. And so, again, that was an activity where we lent our time, even though we're very busy individuals, and, you know, we are focusing on something else. This is something that we definitely take interest in. And more recently, as Mr. Allen mentioned, the hurricanes that, you know, greatly affected the Caribbean region, in particular Dominica. SkinHyper actually created a Dominica relief program where we would ask members and have members solicit from the members certain items that we think would be necessary to help Dominica get back on its feet. And so that was a very successful endeavor as well.
Good.
So just to wrap up, like I said, SkinHyper is not necessarily a volunteer organization, but it is something through our activities we make sure that even though, for example, yes, we are about debating and talking about national issues, but how can we involve persons on this process? So when it is that you see we have parliamentary sit-ins, what we do, we lend our expertise and we train persons outside of SkinHyper, for example, the CFBC students who participated in our last parliamentary sit-in. They were a part of the process. They were able to come and understand what parliamentary procedures are all about. We train them in position papers, writing certain important documents, speaking in Parliament and so forth. And so we were able to lend our time and our expertise to train those individuals. And so while we're not focused on volunteerism, a lot of the activities that we do aid certain people in certain ways.
Okay, so that just goes to show that you don't necessarily have to be a service or volunteer organization
Definitely.
to get involved in volunteerism.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
So I want to ask both of you, how do we encourage more young people to become more civic-minded, to volunteer more?
And that's a very good question. And, you know, as humans, we always ask the question, what is in it for me?
Yes.
You know? So let me tell you what is in it for you. You know, and that's a matter of service and making a difference. You're able to, through these type of organizations or service clubs, fellowship and network. So you find networking with professional leaders. Sometimes you build lifelong friendships.
Sometimes you find husbands and wives.
I would say, I hope that is not your motive.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yes, and we've seen that many of those instances. You develop skills. You learn about things like public speaking, planning, leadership. You know, working with a team of diverse individuals. And these things either help to prepare you for the work world, because in life, you're going to be working with a diverse team. You know, people with different views, different ethnic persuasions, things of that nature. Continuing education. You know, through these clubs and service units, you know, you get to be engaged by expert speakers on vocation presentations and a wide array of issues at meetings. You get to travel, so you get to understand not just your local domain, but, you know, international conventions where you meet and even widen that network. you become more culturally aware of what's happening around you. And this enhances your own personal development and growth. So again, what's in it for you? It's really about being a part of something that is bigger than yourself. It's about making an impact. It's about developing young leaders of today for tomorrow, making a difference, grow leaders, learn new skills, connect across continents, and build your favorite lifelong friendships.
I think that's a good ad for volunteerism right there. The Department of Youth, represented by Pierre Liebert, he was here this morning. I think they should get you to record that ad for them, Chad, definitely.
I'll be more than willing.
But definitely, I think Chad basically covered the general benefits of volunteerism, but I just want to touch on what's in it for young people. Because as a youth organization, of course, we comprise of young people. We work with young people. And, young persons, they're very reluctant to do these kind of activities. And so they really, really would ask the question, well, what's in it for me? And what I want to just specifically touch on is career, your career outlook. Participating in certain activities will basically give you an idea of where you see yourself in the next 5-10 years and what you see yourself doing. And also, in some instances, volunteer work actually adds to your resume. It actually gives you college credits.
Indeed.
Actually helps you in getting jobs and so forth. So it is there are opportunities out there in volunteerism. Apart from the making a difference in someone else's life and networking with people and so forth, you can actually see the benefits and being able to reap those benefits and add in some value to you.
Okay, thank you for that. Everything always seems to have a level of corruption. How do you manage the funds that you receive, sponsorship that you receive towards volunteerism? Is there a code of conduct as well for your volunteers? How do you manage them when they're in your service? So those are the two things I want you to address.
You're just spot on with your questions. The truth is, Rotary is governed by an ethical code. And it's actually one that is used internationally. We call it the 4-way test. It's a non-partisan, non-sectorial ethical guide for Rotarians to use in their personal and professional relationships. So it's actually used and recited at every Rotary Club meeting, and it goes like this. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Is it beneficial to all concerned? And the truth is, if we follow these 4 basic ethical codes, and we ask ourselves these questions in everything that we do, whether in our professional capacity or in our personal lives, it helps to answer that question you asked earlier. How do we manage funds that comes in? And you ask the question, is it fair to all concerned? So that is the ethical code that governs how we operate on a day-to-day basis. And we hold ourselves accountable to that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, but for Skin Hyper, unfortunately, because we are a non-governmental organization and we're not specifically focused on volunteerism, we would have to raise the funds that are necessary for these volunteer projects. And so, of course, we would manage those funds professionally. I mean, it's our money. We have to... It is basically the organization's money that we're using. And so we would manage those funds professionally.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have committees? What happens? What exactly happens to the funds when they come into your organization?
Okay, so in our Rotary setting, we do have we have a treasurer, we have secretary, we have a vice president. We have roles for specific activities. We have head of project community. So you find that within these respective directorship roles, there are subcommittees, and they will put together what is necessary in terms of from an accounting standpoint, everything has to be checked and balanced. For every check that we write, there has to be the corresponding receipt, and we have to account for it at the end of each Rotary year through our documentation and our financial statements. So it's key that you as professionals, we're able to show how we spend the funds that come into us. And we show how we actually raise it in many instances, and for those that are donated to us through persons of a volunteerism mind, then we have to be able to account for that. And that's why we have our financial statements that support it.
Okay. For us in Sniper, there's not necessarily a volunteer committee. What happens is that once we have an activity in our calendar year, we would, at the AGM, we would plan out the different committees that are necessary. So, for example, for the Center Play, that would fall under our social committee. And of course, the fundraising committee will assist in that. So we have different persons who are working on different committees. But at the end of the day, what it is about Sniper is that even though we have, let's say, maybe 4 persons on the planning committee for this event, everybody works as a team. So it's not necessarily where we just have 4 persons, let's say, on we have a volunteer project, let's say Center Play. We don't necessarily just have the 4 persons who are on that committee just working on Center Play. Everyone is involved. So there's, like I said, there's not generally a volunteer committee. There's just the committees that are managing the different events that we have.
Okay, I understand. So what I want to know is, where do you think this idea of volunteerism came from? Who gave us this idea that we should carry the elderly lady next door her groceries, that we should help her with her landscaping, that we should go and paint their homes? Where did this idea of volunteerism even come from?
I believe that it is a natural, innate, that comes from care, that comes from love, and what is just right. I was reading a thought earlier by one of my favorite persons, that's Ralph Marston, and it said, the way to truly feel good is to do what is truly good. Giving feels good because it is so good for everyone involved. Good things we associate with modern life came into being because people found a way to make a positive difference in the lives of other people. To the extent we give, we thrive. Give not because it's an obligation or because you've been guilted or shamed into doing so. Give because it's one of the greatest things you can do for yourself. Giving expands your influence and your significance, and in doing so, benefits for all as well as those people your giving touches. Give, and there is no doubt that you matter, that your life has meaning, purpose. Indulge yourself again and again in the great feeling of making a positive impact in the world. Let your generosity infuse your every action, thought, choice, encounter, and relish the experience of a life that increasingly improves because of what you give. And, it ends there. When I read this particular piece, it really embodies the true purpose of wanting to give back and the self-gratification that comes along with it. In just looking back at the Rotary Club of Liamiga this year, and just some of the initiatives, because we've been talking about volunteerism, but what are some of the things that actually come out of it? And
you're going to talk about Rotary initiatives?
Correct.
We're going to talk about that a little later.
Okay.
I'm going to give Hanif a chance to come in here and talk about where he thinks that this whole idea of volunteerism comes from.
Great.
Well, definitely, I don't think someone just got up one day and said, okay, we're going to just start to volunteer, right? And as Chad said, I think it's something that is innate. I think because, in this world, we still have nice people. And I think that, with that said, people are willing to help others in need and make sure that they are able to have a decent standard of living. Because the truth is, some persons are better off than others. And like I said, they are nice people, and so we would really want to help those persons to become better. For us as an organization, what it does for us is provide a gap between the individuals or the community resources and those resources provided by the government.
Okay, thank you. So we actually have, the government of St. Kitts actually has a luncheon going on at Government House right now for the indigent and the elderly. And we are going to call some of them at Government House right now, specifically Deputy Prime Minister Sean Richards, so that he can talk to us a bit about what is going on at Government House, what made them decide to have this luncheon for the indigent and the elderly. And we're going to get, a kind of understanding of why the whole idea of National Volunteer Day came to be. While we wait to get the Deputy PM on air, let me ask you, Hanif.
Yes.
Is Skinaipa doing any activity today for National Volunteer Day?
Of course, Skinaipa is in the mix.
Okay, here we go. Deputy PM Sean Richards. Good afternoon, Mr. Richards.
Hi, good afternoon, and how are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I am doing very well.
Okay, well, you are live on WinFM's Inside the News, and we are talking about National Volunteer Day. So can you tell me a little bit about why the government decided to have National Volunteer Day?
National Volunteer Day was decided upon by the government as a way for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to go out into the different communities and to give back to the community in various forms. You have had several community organizations which are participating in the National Volunteers Day. You have had a beach cleanup. You have had homes being painted for some of our senior citizens. You have had other groups which have been cleaning up general areas within the different communities. Here currently by the Governor General's residence, where you have senior citizens being treated to lunch. You have parliamentarians here participating, helping to serve the senior citizens. You have young people in particular who are here also helping to serve the senior citizens. Now, I believe in particular it is important for the young people to give back to the communities, but also to come out and mix and mingle with senior citizens, learn some of the history of St. Kitts and Nevis. But I think more importantly, is to show a level of care and concern for those who have built the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay, so what is the reaction from the senior citizens to this event?
They're actually looking very happy. They're well entertained. You have the music here. Some of them are dancing. They're partaking in just about everything that we have to offer here to them this afternoon. The Governor General is here, so he also is mixing and mingling with them. They get the opportunity to meet him personally. And it's quite a festive afternoon here at the Governor General's residence.
Okay, thank you so much for talking to us about National Volunteer Day and about the luncheon. And I think that it is an excellent initiative.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay. So there we had it, the Deputy Prime Minister Sean Richards calling in to talk about National Volunteer Day. And Hanif, I want to hear from you before we take some more calls about National Volunteer Day, because we do have volunteers who are on the ground at various activities who are going to come on air to kind of tell the public about their activities. Tell me what Skinaipa is doing today.
Yes, so like I said, Skinaipa is in the mix, of course. This afternoon, we'll be visiting the children's home, and we'll be engaging with the little ones. We planned out some activities for them, and we're hoping they'll have as much fun as we would.
Okay, that sounds nice.
I mean, I don't want to say that we'll have more fun than them, but I just hope that the excitement is at the same level.
Yes.
So what type of games are you going to play with the children?
Well, Elsie, that is a surprise. You want to come and find out? We're open to have anybody who is interested. They can come along with us. And if they have a game that...
Okay, so right now on the line we have Michael Hendrickson, and he is an attendee at the luncheon. Mr. Hendrickson, welcome to WinFM's Inside the News. Hello?
I'm here, yes, right.
Okay, so...
The music was playing, you see, so...
So you're enjoying yourself?
Mm.
So tell me what's going on at the luncheon for
At
National...
the present moment, we have the masquerades here, and they just started their second dance, which is called a bop dance at the present moment. There is quite a good variety of people here from all walks of life. They call us senior citizens. All of us are senior citizens there. And I must say, I thank the Governor General for actually putting on this event for the whole of St. Kitts. People to come and partake in it. And it is very, very, very good. This is my second time here, and I really enjoy it. Some faces that I haven't seen for many, many years who are here enjoying themselves. I have a lovely young lady here who is pulling a bin for the rubbish at the present moment, and she's doing very, very well.
Okay.
Yes, we're all enjoying it.
Okay, so I'm...
Okay, and she just told me she's working.
Okay, so I'm happy to hear that you're having a good time at the luncheon. Thank you for stopping by to talk with us.
Okay. Right. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much indeed. Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like they're having a whale of a time.
I know, indeed, I'm jealous.
I think we're missing out on the luncheon and the masquerades and the music that they have going on at Government House.
So that's such a key ingredient. The whole aspect of having fun while giving back, and it's so evident, coming from that particular, feedback you just got. You could hear it in the background, and I'm sure and I trust that everybody's really enjoying themselves.
And I know the elderly persons are having a whale of a time.
Yes.
I know that's definitely something they enjoy.
Yeah, it actually reminds me of in Rotary. The Rotary Club of La Amiga actually adopted the Sadler's nursing home, and every year on that Heroes Day, a bunch of us, we head to the home, and we have music, we have food, we just have a good lime with everyone that's there, and provide them with some nice care packages and supplies, equipment, stuff like that. And I can tell you, it's something that they look forward to every year, and just a feeling you get coming from that event. I mean, you wish you could do it every day. Yeah, it's really satisfying. And yeah.
Okay, so we have David Keynes on the line. He is a National Volunteer Corps member who was named one of the 25 most remarkable teens in 2015. David Keynes?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You are live on WinFM's Inside the News. Can you tell me about what activity you've been involved in today for National Volunteer Day?
Well, today we're at the Government House. We're here with the elderly, having a good time. We're feeding them, we're dancing with them, we're communicating with them, trying to get to know them.
Okay, and can you tell me what is the reaction of the elderly people to this interaction with you and with the other volunteers?
Well, they're happy to have us, and we're happy to have them as well. And we learn from them, and they learn from us.
Okay, and I hear the music in the background, so I suspect you will want to return to your dancing.
Yes, they have a masquerade here.
Okay, well, thank you for calling in to Inside the News and sharing a little bit of what's going on there with us here. Thank you.
All right, you join us over there.
Okay.
Hopefully they don't dance too hard with the elderly. Take your time, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chad, tell me about some of the initiatives, some of the activities that Rotary gets involved in. You just told me about one. Tell me about some of the others.
Okay, great. But before I even tell you, I mean, he said something just now, which is getting to know them. And that's the real clincher when it comes to touching the hearts of persons when you go there. It's not just about giving a check and taking some photos and making a presentation, but how do you make a difference? How do you connect with persons on the ground? You know, the Rotary Club of La Amiga has been very fortunate to be able to serve the community in this regard. And there are certain projects that we take on annually, and there are others that we do based on the need that comes up, that we get similar feelings from. When I speak of Rotary, I can also include the Rotary Club of St. Kitts, because, you know, we are a Rotary family overall. So we had the training of nurses overseas and local in the area of diabetic foot care. And through that, we saw a reduction in amputation as a result. And that for us was a big thing. We had a foot care clinic. And believe me, we had hundreds of people that came in. It was somewhat like more like a pedicure, but kind of checking your foot in the same time. And, you know, persons got shoes. And I mean, it was people were lined up in circles just to, you know, be a part of that event. And that's one that was fully supported by the Rotary Club of La Amiga. We also, you know, on an annual basis, especially when it comes to the festive season of Christmas, believe it or not, you know, it's a very depressing period for many persons who are not in a position to do as they would like, resource-wise. And in our last Christmas period, we did a hamper distribution, and it's something we do every year, where we had in excess of 50 packages, you know, full with food and drinks and, you know, basic toiletries, stuff of that nature. And we were able to identify some of the more vulnerable situations, and we provided that care package. But given the package was one thing, when we were able to connect with them, sing a Christmas cheer, I mean, that in itself, you know, added so much credence to what we did. And we also had our Rotaract Club from Nevis join us in that event. So it's not just about us now, but how are we bringing the people of the future into this so they can see and get the best practices so the succession lives on. One of our more recent projects is that of book distribution, because our theme for Rotary this year is making a difference. And we've took it a little further to say making a difference in education. So as it is right now, we do have a 40-foot container full of books.
Wow.
Full of books. And, you know, we have already started the process to distribute books to each school across St. Kitts and Nevis. But based on the numbers and based on the distributions we've done so far, I'm almost sure that we will have to go back to some of the schools. And again, you know, it's focusing on education. Reading, literacy, I mean, that's a big thing for us in the Caribbean. So we just want to ensure that, you know, that stays alive. There are other projects like beach cleanup and just ensuring that our shorelines are clean, rebuilding homes for, you know, persons who would have been engulfed by fire. When we think of youth, you know, one of our annual projects is I'm sure you heard about this one, is the annual spelling bee competition.
Yes.
You know, and this one has really grown over the year for us, where we have a real showdown between, you know, the schools, and, you know, it gets really exciting and really, you know, teeth crunching when it gets close to, you know, who's going to win and who's going to be the ultimate champion. So that's something that we've sponsored and just really cheered ourselves over the years. Our New Year's Ball at the Marriott, that's one of our major fundraisers. So we do encourage, you know, when you see that Rotary emblem out there and, you know, we're putting on events, it's really towards a major cause, you know, and charity on a whole. I did mention the Hurricane Relief Partnership, where we send out stuff to Anguilla, St. Martin, and even as you come across the Bay Road, you may see some trees right there. I mean, Rotary is involved in planting and the beautification of some of these areas. You know, talent search competition. We want to know in St. Kitts and Nevis, you know, where's our talent? You know, and you know, we put it out there. And believe me, we have some talented individuals, teens, young people right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. You'll be amazed what these guys do when they go on, you know, in front of that stage. So, you know, we're very much involved in the day-to-day activities. I know the Rotary Club of St. Kitts was very instrumental in putting on a prostate screen. And that, as you know, for many men, that's an area that they try to avoid. And we want to ensure that, you know, persons stay and up to date when it comes to the screening of their prostate annually. Provide braille equipment and to the Blind Association, and these are just among many of the things that Rotary get involved in. So we don't necessarily wait on a special day. It's an ongoing, it's a way of life for us in terms of what we do. And the true question is, what you get out of Rotary is largely dependent on what you put into it. And that's the whole theme around volunteerism.
Okay, so how do you determine what activities you put your time and your resources into?
So it goes back to what our core purpose is. And I did mention some key areas that we tend to focus on as a Rotary group. And that guides us. And again, based on where we see the resources, based on the need that is there, that's how we determine through our various committee meetings, which one do we believe will have the most impact, which one is most pressing. For us, you may look at, is crime a big agenda on the item now? How can we assist with crime? Things of that nature. But again, the areas of focus for us is peace and conflict prevention, disease prevention and treatment, water and sanitation, maternal and child care, basic education and literacy, economic and community development. So in each year, we try to pick certain areas and focus on it for us. This year is making a difference, and we're focusing on education.
Okay, thank you. So, Hanif, you told me that Skinniper will be going to the children's home today. How did Skinniper choose that project for National Volunteer Day?
Okay, well, I'll say that is dependent on a number of factors. First of all, we are a very small organization in terms of our resources, our manpower especially. And so we would have loved to choose a project that, is very extravagant, something that we can definitely make a huge impact, especially on, within a day. But I believe that it doesn't really matter what it is you do, the size of it, the impact is still there. And, as Shad said, giving is one thing. Is not just to say, okay, well, I did this because I had to do it, just because it's National Volunteer Day. It's the end result. What do you get out of it? What satisfaction do you get out of it? Is it because you have something to put on your resume? Is it because you're making your organization look good? For us at Skinniper, it's because of the satisfaction we get out of it. At the end of the day, we know for sure that when we go to the children's home, those children would have interacted with us, and that experience that they would have had would have just been amazing, right? So today we are visiting the children's home. Like I said, the choice for that is dependent on a number of factors, of course, resources, funding, everything that we have, because a lot of the resources that we have comes from internal. So funding, the material that we have, internal. So we solicit these resources that we need, put it together and say, okay, well, we're going to, even though it's a small number of children, even though it may seem small, the impact will definitely be there. And I can assure you, after today, once Skinniper visit the children's home, they'll want us back. They'll definitely want us back.
It depends on what games you play.
Trust me, the games will be interesting.
If your games are lame.
Our games won't be lame. Trust me. And I think today will be like a mini Come Center Play. Come Center Play is something that we put a lot of effort into because we know the impact it will have with the children. And so I think it will have the same impact on these children at the children's home. And it's not just, even as I say, it's not just games. Sometimes it's, the bonding. Sometimes it's a learning experience. Like you said, even when you sit down with the elderly, it's the same thing with the children. You sit down with them. Sometimes you learn about certain problems they may be having. And, one thing can lead to the next. Who knows? Maybe today we sit down, we visit the children, we sit down with them. One of them may be having problems with English or public speaking or something that we can lend our expertise to. And that is what you get out of volunteerism. You go with the impression of making one impact, but you make a huge impact. So definitely, Skinniper Children's Home today will be grand.
Okay, thank you, Hanif. My question to both of you, do you think that there are enough volunteer organizations, volunteer activities that take place in the Federation?
There is so much room for improvement. But you want people who are serious about volunteerism, and not just to do it or just to be affiliated with the respective groups, but really have a true sense of wanting to give back. Because the need is there. You know, when we look around, and you don't have to look very far, you will always see opportunity where you can improve the life of others. And in so many ways, you know, it could be from a mindset, it could be from a physical support, it could be, you know, financial. There's so many ways that we can provide support to persons around us. So no, at this point it's not enough. And you know, through programs like this, we build greater awareness of the need of volunteerism and service within our community. And we welcome, you know, persons to seriously consider, you know, what can I do to make a difference?
Okay.
Well, I don't think there can ever be enough volunteer work. You know, that is something that goes on a continuous basis, and is definitely much needed in our society. And it is not just about participating or being affiliated with an organization or an association to say, okay, well, I'm going to join Skinniper because Skinniper does volunteer work. I'm going to join Rotary because they are focused on volunteerism. I'm going to join Red Cross or any other volunteer organization. It's not just about that. The actions we do as an ordinary person, or small actions, can contribute so much. For example, you know, if I'm here and I know my neighbor is elderly, she probably may not be able to maintain her yard as she would have in her younger days with her roses. You know, I may just say to myself, okay, well, I'm going to do this for her. I'm going to go over in her yard, clean up her yard, and make it look nice and pretty. And that in itself is volunteerism. So I think a lot of people think that volunteerism is like a
huge act,
a day job or something. You know, it's not something where you have to, okay, you have to apply for this position and say, okay, well, from today I'm going to be a volunteer. You know, it is your actions. It is your actions. Yes, you can be affiliated with an organization that has volunteerism on a huge scale and it's more practical and it has a procedure. Yes, but volunteerism stems from within. Is who you are and what you do.
Yeah, and that's such a key point. You know, when I just started in Rotary, which would have been somewhere in about year 2000, so some time ago, I always thought of what difference I could make. However, I found that, you know, when you come together with others, your impact can be so much more as opposed to trying to do it on your own. So, you know, when we speak about the power of unity or the power of strength, power of coming together, I mean, that's a powerful thing when you can, you know, you can go so much further when you come together.
Okay, thank you, Chad. We are going to take a break, and I just want to remind you that we are being streamed live on Facebook. So you can, you know, go on our Facebook page, WinFM, to see the faces I have in the studio with me. I also want to say thank you to the sponsors of WinFM's Inside the News, TDC, The Cable, and Digicel. I'll catch you on the other side of the break.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
It's a new day at Digicel, so stick around for the fun as we continue to give you more. Don't want to miss that movie or game? Now you can take your TV wherever you go. When you buy a Quick Pick bundle, you'll get access to the PlayGo TV app subscription free and 1 hour free PlayGo data streaming every single day. So you can watch your favorite TV shows, movies, or live sports without using any of your data. So go to the My Digicel app and buy a Quick Pick bundle to start watching on the go. Only with Digicel.
The Cable, we provide much more than just the fastest and most reliable internet service. We fill the homes of all our customers with joy and laughter. Our services connect friends and keep families together. With the most extensive fiber optic network, we ensure that you can enjoy the things you love with the people you love. Whether it's catching up with family or old friends, or simply just enjoying your favorite TV shows, people choose the Cable because quality shows.
You need new tires but don't know what to get. TDC can help.
Hi, I'm Goodyear. I ensure great handling and great braking in wet and dry conditions.
My name is Sunphone. My continuous block patterns enhances stability at high speed cornering. Did someone say speed? Hi, I'm Torque. Pick me for great performance and stability.
Boys, I know exactly what they want. I'm Pressa. I'm the perfect fit for your SUV. Pick me and get the ultra-high performance with outstanding grip and traction regardless of the road conditions.
So which one of us are you gonna choose? For the most reliable, durable, high-performance tires, come to TDC Automotive Divisions. We'll help you choose from the best brands at the best prices.
People make the world go
Okay, we are back. Thank you for staying tuned to WinFM's Inside the News. Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook. And for those of you who want to interact with us here in the studio, feel free to call in to our station. I'm going to give you the numbers as soon as I locate them. But in the meantime, let's talk about some other issues. Poverty, for example, and the elderly. So there is a luncheon going on at Government House for elderly persons in our society. As well as we know that poverty is a bit of an issue. I checked out the poverty assessment for St. Kitts and Nevis. The one that I was able to find, the most recent one, is for 2007-2008. And they said, based on the conducted combined survey of living conditions and household budgetary survey conducted in 2007-2008, it was found that the average family in St. Kitts and Nevis needs at least EC $17,978 per annum to meet their minimum basic food and non-food consumption requirements. The estimated indigence line for St. Kitts, that is the cost of securing the cheapest basket of food that would ensure 2,400 kilos of calories and comprised all of the essential nutrients for good bodily health, was EC $2,595 per annum, or $7.10 per day. On this basis, it was estimated that 1.1% of households or 1.4% of individuals were considered indigent or poor. So I want to know from you, how can volunteerism assist with issues of indigence or poverty, as well as the elderly that sometimes get, forgotten in our society? And for those of you who want to call in and talk to us, the numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989.
So you touch on a very sensitive and a very topical area, and that's the matter of poverty. And, there are so many versions when you think of poverty that come to mind. There's poverty of the mind. There's poverty financially. There's poverty of knowledge. And as a Rotary group, as a Rotary organization, how do we combat this? How do we tackle this? And it takes us back to our core purpose of the areas that we want to focus on. And there's an old saying: you can give a man a fish today and give him one tomorrow. However, teach him how to fish and he can feed himself for a lifetime. And we think of this in terms of the activities that we take on, in terms of how sustainable are they. So you give someone a package today, or you provide, some medium or short-term fix, but does that really empower them? Does that really enable them to be able to really grow? And that's why we focus on developing and growing our leaders. So that mindset, it's very important to elevate from poverty. I think of how Rotary supports some aspects of poverty, and I think of health. Rotary had a campaign which is End Polio Now. And Rotary was successful in polio eradication worldwide, where we reduced this by 99.9%.
Wow.
99.9%. So we're this close to eradication. And when you think of who are the persons that are impacted by this, poverty comes back to mind. And how do you provide real help where it is needed? And this was one way in which Rotary was able to support that. So again, you know, there are many versions of poverty, and how you tackle it is going to be dependent on what's your core purpose and your objective.
Okay, well, Elsie, for me, you touch a very interesting topic because, you know, I'm very much so interested in pursuing a career in social policy, which basically deals with making sure that our citizens have a good quality of life and they have access to the basic needs, right? For us here at Skinniper, our motto is equality and justice in nation building. And so we believe in ensuring that whatever our actions, whatever our activities are, they aid the development of the country. And I just want to make mention of this little bit of information that I found online. Volunteer Work provides an organization with a free resource to help it meet its mission or goals, which often include filling the gap between an individual or community's resources and those provided by the government. In many cases, volunteers are crucial to help maintain life, as when meals are delivered to homebound people. Sometimes volunteer work, such as renovating a playground, benefits the broader community, and while volunteer work is important for the individuals and the communities served, it also benefits the volunteer. Now, there's only so much that the government can do in terms of reducing poverty. Poverty is a grand issue, and there's only so much that the government can do. For us as an organization and as ordinary people, we can help play a role in eradicating poverty. And it goes back to that neighborly love that we have for each other. You know, seeing someone who is not as fortunate as us, you know, we consider ourselves better off than them. We want to extend that neighborly love and make sure that they are able to access what we have access to. Now, Chad touched on something, you know, that caught my attention. The whole fact that there are tangible items and there are those that are intangible. You know, we're able to give certain persons the food hampers, you know, write a check and give it to them, donate paint and so forth. Mm-hmm. But how far can that go?
Yeah.
In terms of actually sustaining them and eradicating poverty. And for us here at Skinniper, like I said, like I mentioned before, we are a very small organization. Funding is sort of an issue for us, given the limited resources that we have. And so we will more lean towards the intangible means of actually volunteering. And so in terms of the training that we provide, you know, dealing with the youth parliamentarians and the future leaders, you know, prepping them for debating, all the skills and training that they receive, these can help them further themselves in their education. And not only education, it creates a domino effect. You know, they get the education, they be able to get the career, and they're able to sustain themselves. And of course, come out of that poverty that they're in. And so I do believe that because of the organization's standpoint, we are better able to actually give them intangible ways of volunteering, and hopefully that will help in eradicating poverty.
Okay, what about the elderly? Sometimes, you know, these persons get put into an elderly home and they don't see a lot of familiar faces, or sometimes they're right in our communities and they're in their homes, but they don't see community members. And some of these persons would have done so much for the community in their heyday. How does volunteerism help the elderly to not feel excluded from our society?
That's such a key point you raised there. And I think we spoke to it a little earlier on in terms of being able to connect with our people. And, you know, not just be a show for the moment. But very often we will organize projects where we'll spend a day with the elderly, and having those one-on-one conversations, things like combing their hair, doing their nails, just listening to some of the journey that they've been through. And you'd be very much surprised to know how it actually empowers you in what you do on a day-to-day basis, and sometimes learning from their past mistakes or learning from things that they did well, and to improve your own situation and circumstance. So I find that to be very, it's one way of passing knowledge from one generation to the next through simple conversation. And it's these simple things that make such a big difference. You know, they don't have the luxury of persons being around them as often. So when they do get that, they do cherish it. And we have to take care of our elders, because life is very funny. You know, we are young now, but what does tomorrow hold for us? And how do we treat, you know, those who are in that position now, and who knows what will happen when we get to that stage?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so this morning, for the part of the program that I had first, Mr. Griffin from the Keys Community Development Club told me about an amputee that lives in their village, and they actually went to paint his house and cleaned up his house. And I thought, you know, that is amazing, because there are people with disabilities. They're in some another category of people that seem to be excluded from community activities. And I think that even if we just take a look around our neighborhood, we will see people that can benefit from volunteerism.
From our actions, yes.
So if you had a message for the young people on National Volunteer Day, what would it be?
Get involved.
That's it?
Simple.
That's
Get
it?
involved. Get involved.
Yeah, and that's a powerful message. You know, what we're doing now is really creating greater awareness. But I would encourage each young person, don't be afraid to get uncomfortable. Don't be afraid to step out and do something different that is not just about you. And, you know, don't be afraid to care and love for someone else, because that's really where volunteerism comes. That's the true heart of volunteerism. It comes from genuine care and service above self.
And just to add on to that, you know, sometimes we look at certain things, and we, like we mentioned earlier, we tend to say, well, what am I getting out of this? You know, and sometimes you're not able to actually see these things up front. You know, sometimes it's just after you would have done it, whatever it is, when you realize, okay, well, this is the outcome of it. This is what I'm benefiting. And so don't look at it. Volunteerism is not something you look at and say, okay, well, if I paint over Elsie's house, somebody's going to give me $500 or something. Don't look at it that way. Look at it as a learning experience for you, an eye-opening experience, just as it was for many of us who would have volunteered before. It is an eye-opening experience, and trust me, it is something that you'll definitely learn from.
Okay, so I just want to know, for my listening audience and my viewing audience, if they wanted to join either of your organizations to be a part of the excellent work that you do, how can they do this?
Well, you know, membership is, you know, for our club, memberships are dedicated people who share a passion about community and service and friendship. Becoming a Rotarian connects you with a diverse group of professionals who share your drive to give back. Discuss your community needs and discover creative ways to meet them. Expand your leadership and professional skills. Catch up with good friends and meet new ones. Connect with leaders from continents, cultures, and occupations. In Rotary, you know, our club accepts new members by invitation. So contact us, you know, for more information on becoming a member of Rotary. And, you know, we do have a very active website where you can learn more about it. You know, if it's something new to you, then you want to find out if it's something that will work for you. And how can you be a part of something that is bigger than self?
Being a part of Skinniper is definitely a life-changing experience. And Elsie, I'm sure you can say that for yourself. And I see my friend in the back there say the same thing. Being a part of Skinniper, it is, as we say internally, it is like having a
Good afternoon. You are on Inside the News.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. Is this the voice of the Prime Minister I'm hearing?
This is she.
Welcome to WinFM's Inside the News.
Thank you for having me this way.
No problem. Can you tell us about this National Volunteer Day?
Yes, I can. National Volunteer Day is being inaugurated on this date. The intention of the government is that it become an annual event, and in that regard, we have been given the support of the Governor General, who has declared today the National Volunteer Day. We are attempting basically to build good values in our people, and the values of service, the values of solidarity, the values of caring, the values of unity and responsibility are some of what we are attempting to instill in our people. And so every year, on this very special day, now to be dubbed National Volunteer Day, we are hoping that each one of us would find some way, some means by which we can be a little kinder. We could offer support. We can show love, we can show care to some resident or citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. And it doesn't matter how simple it may look, an act of kindness will go a very long way in making our society more loving, more caring, more abuzz with patriotism and love for the fellow man. Today, we have had outstanding demonstration of what we would wish that our citizens would be doing each and every day, but even more so on Volunteers Day. We saw members of the community, for example, in Mansion, got together from very early in the morning and began to repaint a home of someone in that community who needed that particular support. I witnessed at Estridge Primary School a group of workers from the park and beach who had come out on a Saturday to prepare the grounds ahead of the school sports day. And we see demonstrations throughout the country of good volunteers at work, making our country proud and bringing happiness to our people. I'm here now at Government House, and hundreds of our senior citizens, and not so old, have come out basically to enjoy a nutritious and delicious lunch being prepared by many hands. Many persons, both in the private sector and families, contributed dishes so that our people can come together and the auspicious and historic grounds of government headquarters, make merry, enjoy themselves, knowing that the leadership of the country and indeed all the citizens and residents appreciate their service and their contribution. We have the folklores that have come out and we want to thank them. We have a group of young people who have come together as part of the National Volunteer Corps, and they are here serving. We have ministers of government. We have the Deputy Speaker participating. We have the Minister of Agriculture participating. We have Senator Phipps participating. We have the Deputy Prime Minister participating, and other officials of the government. And importantly, His Excellency is here, giving solidarity and support, and allowing our seniors in particular to know that their contribution is well valued, and we want them to have a joyful and happy lives.
Thank you.
So for me, it's been a very, very good day. Perhaps something that we should have done long before. We haven't seen it at work. Better late than never. And I believe this will be expanded and become one of the highlights of national life in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay, so Mr. Prime Minister, can you tell me what you got your hands involved in today for National Volunteer Day?
I've got my hands involved in some painting in Mansion, the heart of my constituency. I've got my hands involved in putting together what we will call food hampers for distribution in my constituency and elsewhere. I've got myself involved at Government House in serving some of the dishes that are here. I've gotten myself involved in transporting and ensuring transportation is made available for some of the elderly folk who wanted to be here and who otherwise would not have been able to make it. And just being around, interacting with the people, saying thank you to them for coming and letting them know that they are special, that has brought me tremendous joy.
So you've had a very busy National Volunteer Day.
Yes, it has been very busy, very productive, very useful.
Okay, thank you so much for speaking with us on Inside the News, and kudos for designating today National Volunteer Day.
Thank you very much for allowing me to share on this important day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so there we had it. Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris telling us about, the whole rationale behind National Volunteer Day and encouraging citizens and residents alike to get involved. He also told us a bit about the activities that he got his hands involved in for National Volunteer Day. And it's nice to see that regardless of your station in life, what position you hold, you can still take the time to volunteer.
So definitely no one is too busy to participate in volunteerism.
Yes. And I believe you were telling me.
Yes, I was speaking about how interested persons can actually come a part of the association. I was saying before the caller came in, before the Prime Minister came on, that Skinniper is almost like a tattoo on your face. That is something we say internally. And so once you become a part of the organization, you will be easily recognized as a Skinniperian. In terms of membership, we have our membership drive each calendar year. You'll have to check our Facebook page on Facebook, the St. Kitts National Youth Parliament Association, to know when that membership drive will be open. And then we will be accepting applications. If you are between the ages of 12 and 30, you're most welcome to apply.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that, and I hope that some of the listeners will join the Youth Volunteer Corps, will join the Rotary Club of La Amiga, will join Skinnaipa, and even if you are not a part of a formal organizational structure, then that's okay. You can still do your own volunteer activities, and you just have to have the mindset, okay, I'm going to volunteer because I want to make a difference. I see a need and I want to fill that need. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I do volunteer, so don't worry, I'm not being a hypocrite. I volunteer a whole lot, and volunteerism is truly rewarding. I can tell you that I've seen a number of countries simply because of volunteering. I'm not telling you to volunteer
to travel
simply for for the perks such as travel, but I'm sure that both Hanif and Chad, and I'm going to let them can tell you about the personal benefits that they have gotten from volunteering.
You've said it. It is gratifying, to say the least. The whole thought process, the whole reward of giving back, it's really higher than self, and it always just connects me right back to the motto of Rotary, which is service above self. When you're able to impact the life of others, not just today, sometimes it's for generations. What is your legacy? You very often you have to ask yourself, when I leave my position, when I leave this earth, what will be my legacy? And if I can help to make one person in this life better off, then I would have fulfilled my purpose. And that's how I view volunteerism when I think of giving back.
Okay, well, for me, volunteering is it's actually emotional for me. Because, okay, I'll be very honest, at first, sometimes, when I first started getting involved in certain organizations and certain extracurricular activities, the idea of volunteering, it seemed kind of burdensome. When you consider your schedule and everything that you have to do, and you just say, like, okay, well, I really have to spend an hour here and 2 hours doing this. But after you've passed that and you actually get involved in the activity, for example, when you go to the elderly home and you actually sit down with one of them and you connect with them, it's a learning experience. You will get so much out of it that you weren't even expecting. And so it's a very emotional experience for me. There's a sense of accomplishment. I remember one time, while I was at the Washington Archibald High School, we planted a tree. And at the time, it didn't really seem significant. But because we planted it when I was in third form, at the end of my tenure there at the Washington Archibald High School, just to see how that tree has grown and the fruits that it was bearing, it gave me that sense of accomplishment. You know, something so small can turn into something so big, right?
Yes.
And it's also a matter of selflessness, you know, giving up your time, your energies, you know, not really thinking about yourself and what you're getting out of the situation, what you're gaining from the situation, but really what the person you're impacting, what are they going to get out of the situation just by you making the effort to do something so small or something so grand? What are they going to get out of it?
Yeah.
And so for me, that is why I say it's a very emotional experience. Sometimes just tutoring someone, you know, with a subject that they probably were not so good in. And, you know, years from now, you hear them say, you know, they passed the subject with flying colors, you know, they probably got a scholarship. And, you know, it's all because of you. It's all because of your actions. And that is the most gratifying. That is the most gratifying experience ever.
It is.
Right? So it's not just about giving something, expecting something in return. You shouldn't really expect anything in return, except for that magical moment when you've made a difference in someone's life.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we can all pull on different experiences once you volunteer, you know, what it does, not just for the people who you serve, but for you individually. You know, I remember, you know, one of my most touching experiences is when a group of us had to volunteer at a all-girls home. And this home had girls that were abused, that came from varying circumstances. And, you know, we actually went like a week before just to find out what were some of the things that they needed, what were things that were important to them. And we took some notes of it. And you'd be surprised to know some of the feedback that you got. You know, I remember one girl saying, I'd love to get a burger. There's another one that said, there's a particular book they needed in school. And despite she didn't have that book, I mean, she was excelling so well despite the constraints. And, you know, varying little requests came in, and you thought to yourself, you know, many of us may not, you know, if I had to ask for something, it would not necessarily be a burger. But under their circumstances, you know, a burger wouldn't form a natural part of their dietary meal. So, of course, it became special. You know, so we organized, we spent the day with the girls. We had their hairs combed. We did their nails, and we gave them manicures, pedicures. We had breakfast with them. You know, of course, we, you know, shared, you know, had prayers and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, we all dressed up and we took them to the movies. And, you know, again, that's not a common experience for many of them. You know, very often, you know, we go to the movies and we take it for granted that this is the normal way, you know, that things happen. But it's not a reality, you know, under certain circumstances. And when you're able to add that kind of value and just connect in a real way, it's truly, truly gratifying to know that you're impacting, you know, persons of the future. So yes, you know, there are many ways of giving back. You mentioned something about being tired, and yes, it does pull on every facet that you have. But truth is, you don't even realize how tired you are.
Definitely.
when you're giving back, you know, because it's really greater than self, you know.
Okay, thank you, Chad. Thank you, Hanif. We're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll wrap up the discussion. And just so you know, if you want to call in, you can do so in the last few minutes of the program. I'd love to hear about the volunteer activities that you have going on today. The numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. I'll see you on the other side of the break.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
It's a new day at Digicel, so stick around for the fun as we continue to give you more. Don't want to miss that movie or game? Now you can take your TV wherever you go. When you buy a Quick Pick bundle, you'll get access to the PlayGo TV app subscription free and 1 hour free PlayGo data streaming every single day. So you can watch your favorite TV shows, movies, or live sports without using any of your data. So go to the My Digicel app and buy a Quick Pick bundle to start watching on the go. Only with Digicel.
The Cable, we provide much more than just the fastest and most reliable internet service. We fill the homes of all our customers with joy and laughter. Our services connect friends and keep families together. With the most extensive fiber optic network, we ensure that you can enjoy the things you love with the people you love. Whether it's catching up with family or old friends, or simply just enjoying your favorite TV shows, people choose the Cable because quality shows.
Imagine a place that has all that you need, all of the things for your business to succeed. Furniture, copiers, laptops and more. TDC Business Center is your #1 store. Print and copy and scan and fax. Our copy center does all of that. If you're having a party and you need chairs and tents, we've got all your needs and grand rentals for rent. The TDC Business Center has everything your business needs. Superior copy and printing services, business equipment and furniture, and a wide array of renting materials for all occasions. TDC Business Center, providing solutions that work.
Okay, we are back with WinFM's Inside the News. I'm Elsie Harry, and I am here chatting with Chad and Hanif. Chad is from the Rotary Club of Liamiga, and Hanif is from the St. Kitts National Youth Parliament Association. And we've been talking about volunteerism because guess what? It is National Volunteer Day. Yeah. I'm just going to give Chad a minute to do some shout-outs to his posse from his club.
Yeah, of course, I couldn't let the opportunity pass and not shout out the members of the Rotary Club of Liamiga.
Blub, blub, blub.
Yeah.
Bring up yourself one time.
I mean, these guys are so dedicated and they really give service above self. And of course, the Rotary Club by itself, can't make it happen. So we want to thank those who support our efforts, who support our initiatives, and continue to do so. And I want to thank you before you even support our future ventures. But I want to thank them for what they do every day. They show true passion, they show true selflessness, and really, very often, even sometimes as a president, I'm not able to get everything done, but rest assured, somebody steps up and they make it happen. And that's, again, service above self. So nice. Shout out to the Rotary Club of Liamiga. And I also want to big up the Rotary Club of St. Kitts. We partner with them on several initiatives. And, we have a very good synergy in terms of, bonding and making stuff happen.
There you go. Hanif, do you want to
Of course, I won't even let you go. Of course I'll do. I just want to say a huge shout out to the members and the executive of the St. Kitts National Youth Parliament Association. Kudos to those who will be visiting the children's home later this afternoon. I think just right about now they should be heading down to the children's home. So, yes.
Okay, so shout out to Rotary Posse, shout out to Skiniper Posse,
yes.
Shout out to the people who messaged me and said that they are watching us on Facebook Live. Hi, thank you for tuning in. Shakima Sanis, thank you for sticking and staying with WinFM. And while we were having the discussion about volunteerism being emotional and gratifying, I can tell you about two experiences that I had with volunteerism. Oh, and wow. I thought that they were so simple, and my mother thought it was so silly, but I'll tell you about it. So I live in Lodge. Shout out to all of the people from Lodge and country in general.
Really?
So I live in Lodge, and I went to an environmental summer camp in Otleys, right next door. And we painted that wall running along Otleys with different things related to keeping the environment clean and safe and what have you. and we were running out of paint, and my name wasn't written yet as part of a contributor to the wall. So my friend said to me, okay, Elsie, we can't write ELSIE, but we'll write L.C.
That's creative.
And everyone will still know it's you. And whenever you see it, you'll know it's you, right?
Yeah,
I'm like,
LC, so
LC, that's
it
improvising,
it works.
I'm like, sure. So over the years, that was when I was in primary school, I think, or I had just started high school. And do you know that everything else washed off of that wall,
except
but
LC.
LC is still there in that orange paint?
LC, so like you need to go back and paint that
And
wall.
paint it over.
Yes,
Some more
definitely.
work in that area.
And every time I pass it and I see that LC, it reminds me that I was a part of this project.
Yes.
And yes, I should use it as a motivator to get some people together so that we can paint over that wall.
Definitely, yes.
The second experience I had with volunteerism was an after-school effective speaking program at Sadler's Primary with the students there. Not too long ago, like in, I think it was last year around November, I went to a graduation ceremony. And not graduation, sorry, speech day, prize-giving ceremony. And I kept looking at this student up there doing a spoken word poem. And I said, this girl's face looks so familiar. Where do I know her from? So then after the ceremony, she came to me and she was like, Miss Harry, how did you think I did with my poem? And I'm thinking in my head, why is she asking me how she did with her poem? And I was like, oh, you did a great job. I was so proud of you. She was like, you should be. You taught me effective speaking.
It's the little things.
It's the little things, the little things that count. So as we wind down today's Inside the News program, I just want to encourage all the listeners and viewers to volunteer. Make a decisive effort to do something for someone else just out of the goodness of your heart. If there's no goodness in your heart, I'm kidding. Just do it because it's going to put a smile on someone else's face, because it's going to be to the benefit of your country and to your community and to that individual. Volunteerism is an essential part of our life. As we celebrate National Volunteer Day, let us remember to volunteer not just today, but every day, all throughout the year. Thank you, Hanif Charles. Thank you, Chad Allen, for being on today's Inside the News, dedicated to National Volunteer Day.
Thank you.
And thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you to all of the persons who called in: the Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, the Deputy Prime Minister, Sean Richards, David Keynes, Michael Hendrickson. Thank you for telling us about the luncheon that we are obviously missing with all of the nice music and the nice food. It is critical that we remember the elderly and the indigent even as we go about our daily lives. Remember that they're still valuable members of our society, and we need them as much as they need us. So just remember that you can, go and visit your elderly neighbor or the elderly lady down the road. You can take lunch for them. It's as simple as that. You can just sit and spend time with them. They like to see faces who they can talk and interact with. And I just want to say thank you to the sponsors for Inside the News again: TDC, The Cable, and Digicel. Thank you so much for your support. Please make sure you tune in next Saturday for another edition of WinFM's Inside the News. I'm Elsie Harry. Thank you for stopping by.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.